It's not possible. And now you're asking this important question. Is this the day the IRS shows up where you work, garnishes your wages, and seizes your bank account? Well, there's a way to end this IRS nightmare. Call Optima Tax Relief. That's America's most trusted tax resolution firm. They are experts in the Fresh Start Initiative. That's a powerful IRS program that could save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for people just like you. Get the peace of mind that comes when you have Optima on your side. Don't wait. Put your IRS worries to rest. Call 800-973-7700. That's 800-973-7700. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Most New Year's resolutions are hard to keep. Exercise, save money. Well, here's an easy resolution. Don't waste time going to the post office. Use Stamps.com instead. Access all the services of the post office right from your computer and get discounts you can't even get at the post office, like 5 cents off every first-class stamp and up to 40% off priority mail. Print official U.S. postage for any letter, package, or class of mail anywhere you want to send. Drop it in the mailbox or hand it to your mail carrier. So simple. No wonder over 700,000 small businesses already use Stamps.com. Here's to resolutions you can keep this year. Right now, listeners can get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and digital scale. No long-term commitments and no risk. That's Stamps.com. Click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in code USA. Stamps.com, promo code USA. Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again.
Blue Ribbon, Pelham Waters, your water pro since 1949.
Who would have thought there'd be entire aisles devoted to bottled water and that people would buy more water than pop? I'm Brian with Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters here in Fort Dodge. Spring water, drinking water, mineral water. There's so many choices, and we're proud to offer you them all. From our own refreshingly pure drinking water to ultra-pure Mountain Valley spring water, Blue Ribbon Pelham's is your complete water store.
Real travel is life-changing. With Trafalgar, you'll discover the best way to travel and connect with the culture, people, and places you visit. You'll travel with the freedom to discover and the confidence to explore. With over 300 trips on all 7 continents, you get real experiences that you won't find elsewhere. These are just a few of the greatest travel stories you'll ever tell. Save up to 7.5% on trips. Terms and conditions apply. Visit your travel agent or Trafalgar.com. Trafalgar, simply the best.
When I first decided to go back, I was a little scared because I was older. My mom sat me down and she told me that it's not my job to be the man of the house. Her dream for me is to go back to school and finish what I started. I needed to hear that.
Jared didn't know how to get the money he needed for college.
I found out about the federal student aid program through my English teacher, and she told me, Jared, this is what you need to do. Once I got the form, I filled out the application. I did it myself.
Federal student aid made college and Jared's dreams possible.
When I first had the news that I received money, I ran downstairs and I showed my mother, and she was happy, so she started crying. But when I saw her crying, I started crying.
Need help paying for college? Go to federalstudentaid.ed.gov, an office of the U.S. Department of Education. Start here, go further.
My name is Jared, and this is my story.
Mark Stein for Rush behind the golden EIB microphone. Let us go to David in Sherman, Texas. David, you're live on America's #1 radio show. Great to have you with us.
Hey, Mark. I'm gay, and you couldn't pay me to vote for Pete Buttigieg or any of these commie Democrats.
So you're going back to, this is this thing that I'm now gay newspapers from the Advocate on the West Coast to the biggest gay publication in Italy, all hammering me because as a kind of parenthetic thought on Monday's show, I'd queried the gayness of Pete Buttigieg, but Yeah, you're saying you're gay. You're saying you're gay, and you're not planning on voting for Mayor Pete.
That's right. You couldn't pay me. And, he wants to get rid of the Electoral College, and so, Iowa and New Hampshire voters wouldn't have any say in the next election, really, if he gets his way.
No, that's what's interesting. He's in the lead in some polls in Iowa and New Hampshire. And in fact, Iowa and New Hampshire would just be voting for their own obsolescence. No one would ever set foot there again. They'd be completely irrelevant if you got rid of the Electoral College. He doesn't.
That's right.
Yeah, but that is the power. That's the power of identity politics, because all those Democrats supporting him are thinking, wouldn't it be nice to have the first gay president? And they don't care that he's going to abolish the Iowa caucus and the New Hampshire primary. That's the power of identity politics.
I don't think he's going to get most of the gay vote because the log cabin Republicans have signed on with President Trump, and
right.
President Trump has a plan that would eliminate HIV and AIDS and treat AIDS patients, but the Congress won't fund it.
Let me ask you about, because the funny thing is that Trump is, just because he's a New York guy, so he's done business with everyone in Midtown Manhattan of every conceivable race and every conceivable orientation, just because that's the nature of the people living around Trump Tower. And so they've painted him as this great racist, homophobic hater, whereas in fact he's likely the most relaxed Republican president about things like that in history, isn't he, David?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's done more. He wants to do more for the gay community than any of these communistic Democrats would ever do. I mean, there's a plan on that he's got out there that the Democrats won't fund, which will get rid of the AIDS epidemic and will treat HIV patients.
No, well, it's good to know that you're not falling for the blandishments of Mayor Pete. I thank you very much for that call, David. They're going to have to wire me up and give me a gaydar test over this Mayor Pete thing, because I'm being hammered by it all over the gay press. That's how advanced the cause of gay liberation is. But there's nothing to complain about now except me being sufficiently homophobic to complain that Mayor Pete isn't gay enough for my tastes. It's never. What finishes your career is never the incoming you expect to be incoming. I never thought that, of all the things I've said through all the years, I never thought that would be the one that would finally take me out and extinguish my career. But from the look of this front page headline in Italy on this gay magazine, I can't set foot in Italy now. It's all gone. Mark Stein in for Rush. It has been a busy news day, and we are going to close it out in just a moment.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
Will Curry, Chief Strategy Officer at Pure Talk USA, is here to tell us how easy it is to switch to Pure Talk and save up to 50% on your monthly cellular service.
Pure Talk USA believes in being straightforward without any gimmicks. We're a no-contract wireless service with the same great coverage at half the cost of the other carriers. Our CEO and chairman is a U.S. Army veteran with over 30 years of telecom experience.
Tell us more about Pure Talk's plans.
We have plans starting at just $20 a month, including unlimited talk and text. Your plan just depends on how much data you need. We're so confident you're going to love Pure Talk USA, we offer a first month risk-free guarantee.
Well, it feels like it might be a big hassle to change carriers.
Switching is easy. You can even bring your own phone, or you can choose from one of our Apple or Android devices we have in stock. Plus, we offer free 2-day shipping on every order.
Check out PureTalkUSA.com now to save 50% off your first month, or dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk. Dial pound 250 and say Pure Talk. You'll have the option to receive a one-time auto-dialed text from Pure Talk USA.
Your kids are going for a bike ride, you make sure they wear a helmet. They insist on skateboarding, add knee pads and elbow pads too. Swimming in the pool, water wings, goggles, earplugs. If we could pack our kids in bubble wrap, we'd do it. Because we love them and we want to protect them. This is Lisa Edelstein with some very important news. Now there's an easy way to protect your kids 3 times a day. Choose healthy foods. Research has shown that a vegetarian diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains can help protect our kids against obesity. It can even help keep them from developing heart disease or cancer when they grow up. My friends at the Cancer Project are just waiting to hear from you, so they can send you important information on how to protect your children from the inside out. Just log on to cancerproject.org or call 866-906-WELL. That's 866-906-WELL. This message brought to you by the Cancer Project.
America is a land of opportunity, where kids can grow up and become anything they want.
But for some of us, it's not so easy.
Today, 1 out of every 6 children in America lives in poverty.
That's almost 13 million of us.
That's almost 13 million of us living below the poverty line.
The poverty line divides us all into those who have
and those who never have enough. Not enough food or medicine,
or even a place to live. When you live in poverty, every day is hard.
But we don't want a handout. We want a way out.
A way out of poverty for me and my family.
For good.
This is America.
This is America. Together, we can do so much. Will you help?
Nearly 13 million children in America live below the poverty line. You can make a difference in more ways than you know. Go to povertyusa.org and get involved. A message from the Catholic Campaign for Human Development.
Hey, thank you to Ali and to Mike and to Mr. Snerdley for keeping tight reins on the guest. I tell you, I'm not working 3 days a week. This is murder. This is brutal. A guest host simply isn't up to working 3 days a week, so this better not happen again. Rush has got the flu. Get well soon, Rush. Ken Matthews, the great Ken Matthews from Pennsylvania, is going to be here to take care of you tomorrow. And you know, Rush has got the Theraflu, he's got it all, and he is going to be back in time for the trial of Trump when it starts next week.
I'm Selma, and I'll be your server this evening. The special is pasta primavera, and it comes with a salad. Oh, and by the way, I abuse my children. Lots of times I beat them for even the smallest reason. When they really get on my nerves, I lock them in the closet for a few hours.
If only child abuse was this easy to recognize, perhaps then more people would report it. If you even suspect abuse, call Child Help at 1-800-4A-CHILD or visit www.childhelp.org. We've helped millions of people help millions of children, and we can help you. All calls are anonymous and confidential, so remember, 1-800-4A-CHILD or visit www.childhelp.org. Child Help. Trust your instincts. A public service message brought to you by Child Help and the Ad Council.
This is Gary Rima, the voice of the UNI Panthers, and you can listen to exciting Panther sports right here on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400, KVFD.
It's on to the Senate. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The House passing a resolution to send 2 articles of impeachment to the Senate for trial. Democrats arguing there's overwhelming evidence against the president.
So we have a situation that is very sad. Don't talk to me about my timing.
Republicans have criticized House Speaker Nancy Pelosi for holding the articles passed by the House for 4 weeks. The White House accusing her of lying about an urgent need for impeachment. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says it's not really about Ukraine policy or military aid.
Because, for one thing, prominent Democrats were promising to impeach President Trump years before those events even happen.
Democrats say if McConnell doesn't allow more witnesses and documents, he's trying to cover up for the president. The trial is expected to begin on Tuesday. Meantime, history made today at the White House, where Fox's John Decker is live.
President Trump taking a victory lap at a signing ceremony for phase 1 of a trade deal with China.
As a candidate for president, I vowed strong action. It's probably the biggest reason why I
ran for president, because I saw it for so many years and I said, how come nobody's doing something about it?
Under the trade deal, China agreed to increase its purchases of products from the U.S. and also agreed to beef up its protection of intellectual property rights. In return, the U.S. agreed to reduce some tariffs on Chinese imports and eliminate tariffs on others. Lisa?
Thanks, John. The U.S. military just confirming that 3 people have been arrested at the Pearl Harbor military base after a live mortar round was found in a vehicle at the gate last night. That discovery shutting down the base for a few hours. A security guard reporting that he first noticed a smell of marijuana in that vehicle. For now, the investigation continues. America is listening to Fox News.
I'm giving Jeb's basement renovations 1 star. He kept asking me what's behind the walls down there. I'm like, why? What do you know?
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
And then he's like, you can trust me with the job. And I'm all like, trust?
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial, auto, and business insurance.
Yeah, he charged me less than he said he would, which is lying.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
This is a last chance alert. It's happening. In just days, Publishers Clearinghouse will award $5,000 a week forever. Enter now at PCH.com and you could win $5,000 a week for your life. Plus, after that, $5,000 a week for life for someone you choose. The $5,000 a week forever prize is guaranteed to be awarded on February 28th. So don't miss your last chance to win. Enter at PCH.com before it's too late. That's PCH.com. Hurry, award day is almost here. Go to PCH.com now. Entries due 2/25. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited.
Confession and threat from Iran.
New threats today from Iranian President Rouhani in the wake of the shoot-down last week by Tehran of that Ukrainian passenger jet, which left 176 dead, saying it's not just American but European soldiers now who could be at risk. At the same time, he called for unity following days of protest in Iran. Iranian Foreign Minister Zarif admitting today his country lied about the shoot-down, as officials from European countries challenged Tehran on its reneging on the already faltering Iranian nuclear deal. In Amman, Jordan, Greg Falcon, Fox News.
A new lawsuit is filed against the estate of dead convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein in the Virgin Islands.
Epstein's victims deserve answers and accountability. The people of the Virgin Islands deserve accountability.
The island's Attorney General Denise George in the lawsuit says that Epstein used 2 private islands in the U.S. territory to engage in a nearly 2-decade conspiracy to traffic and abuse girls as young as age 12. A day after the Red Sox and their manager parted ways over a sign-stealing controversy, Boston's principal owner, John Henry, speaking out today.
We must ensure to the best of our ability that everyone in the organization represents the club in a manner that deserves the support and respect of our fans.
An investigation by Major League Baseball finds that Alex Cora was involved with using technology to capture hand signals being used by the opposing team during the 2017 season while serving as a bench coach for the Astros, the year Houston won the World Series, and the year after. There's a separate ongoing investigation involving Cora's time with the Red Sox. Sign stealing has always been legal in baseball if done with the naked eye. Wall Street rallying to new record highs. Right now, the Dow is up 110 points an hour to the close. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
From the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom, I'm Rob Jones. The Fort Dodge Police Department is reporting traffic collisions and slick intersections due to hazardous roadway conditions from the winter weather today. Please exercise caution when driving in the area this afternoon and evening. A Webster City man who illegally possessed over 60 firearms has been sentenced to over 2 years in federal prison. 53-year-old Greg Claude received the prison term on Monday after pleading guilty in August to possession of firearms by a controlled substance abuser. At the plea hearing, Claude admitted that he was a daily user of methamphetamine and that in May 2018 he was in possession of multiple firearms. Evidence at the hearing also showed that after a burglary arson investigation, which involved the theft of over 150 firearms in Calhoun County. Law enforcement was made aware of Claude's possession of several stolen firearms in May of 2018. A search of Claude's residence in May 2018 turned up drug paraphernalia and methamphetamine. Officers later seized almost 70 guns, including 33 that had been stolen during the burglary arson. The Iowa caucuses are just under 3 weeks away, and many Iowa Democrats are still undecided and mulling over the field of candidates. Radio Iowa's O.K. Henderson with more.
Daniel Schoenfelder of Newton is like a lot of Iowans who are planning to attend a caucus February 3rd. He hasn't picked a candidate
Really
yet.
undecided, so really like to keep all the options open.
For Tom Moberg of Altoona, it's a coin flip between Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders.
Probably the one that can take down Trump.
The Des Moines Register CNN Iowa poll showed 13% of likely caucus goers are undecided, plus another 45% who said they were supporting a candidate indicated they might be persuaded to support someone else caucus night. 67-year-old Mary Jane Spees of Ankeny has ruled out the older candidates.
Partly because of the age thing, and partly because what they're suggesting is wonderful, but I don't see that it can be paid for. Everybody else that isn't in that realm, they're so close that I haven't decided.
Bindi Brown of Des Moines has narrowed her choice down to Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar, so when will she decide?
Caucus night.
Radio Iowa, I'm O.K. Henderson.
In sports, high school basketball from last night and games you heard on 105.9 The Beach. The South Central Calhoun Titans with a split against Humboldt last night on the road. In the girls' game, the Titans would fall for the first time in the calendar year of 2020 by a count of 38-30. Humboldt would outscore South Central Calhoun 17-5 in the fourth quarter to take the win. Emma McKinney would lead the Titans with 10. In the boys' game, the Titans would come back after trailing 35-32 at the half and outscore Humboldt 53-38 in the second half to get the win 85-73. Zane Newbaum was the story for the Titans offensively as he went off and had this play to get momentum back for the Titans.
Ball stolen away. Here comes a Newbaum. Zane up and slam it home. And just like that, Zane scores 7 straight.
Brian Peters on the call of the Zane Newbaum dunk. Newbaum would have a season-high 40. 3 other Titans would score in double figures, including Cole Corey, Landon Sliceman, and Josh Dietrich. The South Central Calhoun boys now have won 5 games in a row. The Fort Dodge Dodgers were swept in games you heard on 92 Rock at home by Waukee last night. In the girls' game, Waukee would get off to a hot start and build a 10-point lead after the first quarter. They would lead 41-15 at the half and end up winning 70-26. 3 Waukee players in double figures led by Reagan Bartholomew with 15. Torrey Bennett led the Dodgers with 8. The Dodger boys would fall to number 1 ranked Waukee by a score of 76-40. For Waukee, 2 Division I prospects led the way. Tucker DeVries had 16. Peyton Sampford had a game-high 19. For the Dodgers, Ty Kershaw had 12. The Dodgers got off to a slow start, found themselves trailing 24-7 after the first, and 44-19 at the half. Waukee would cruise from there. The Dodgers back in action on Friday in Game 2 of a 7-game homestand hosted Mason City. That's your Alpha Media News Update from the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom. I'm Rob Jones.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun this afternoon with a high of 25. Northwest winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Lows level off around 4 below. Tonight, mainly clear skies and quiet. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Tomorrow, highs around 13. 5 to 10 inches of snow tomorrow night through Friday night. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 21.
Sometimes it's fun to get punched. Get a punch card at the general store now, and for every $15 you spend, you'll get a punch. If you get 5 punches, then you'll receive $10 off your next purchase. From housewares to children's wear to toys and everything in between, if you spend $15, you get a punch. On your card. Get a punch card now at the general store. And don't forget, everything at the general store is always tax-free, and all proceeds go toward helping people in our community. The General Store, 12 North 25th, Fort Dodge.
If you're persuasive, if you're persistent, if you're prepared, I'd like to talk to you about becoming an account manager with Alpha Media. I'm Chris Ball, Director of Sales. As an account manager, you'll have an opportunity to get out of the office and work face-to-face with local businesses to help them expand through marketing on our 7 radio stations. Experience is preferred, but we'll train the right candidate. Isn't it time you really enjoyed your career? Call me at 955-5656 to schedule an interview. Alpha Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
At AM 1400 KVFD.
I confess, I love the Queen of Soul. Doing her all day.
If you want my loving, if you really do, don't be afraid, baby. Just ask me. You know I'm gonna give it to you. Oh, and I do declare, I do. I wanna see you with it. Stretch out your arms, little boy, you're gonna get it. 'Cause I love you. Baby, 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 I love you. Ain't no doubt about it, baby, I love you. Baby, 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 I love you. I love you, I love you, baby, I love you.
Oh, yeah, all day long, all day long. That's Aretha Franklin. Of course, you don't love Aretha, you're not even a human being. What is the matter with you if you can't feel what that woman is saying? And she's gone, and I'm very sad that she's gone. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. I'm Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth. And we are going to tell the truth, make it matter, and never be boring. If you'd like to join the conversation, as always, it's 515-955-1400, 515-955-1400. I guess I don't ask for questions that often. I try to ask every day, but some days I forget. So really, this radio station is supposed to be a sounding board for the community. I'll throw out something, be provocative or even argumentative, and we'd like to see what people think in town. By we, I mean Alpha Media, the people who own this radio station. So by all means, 515, what did I just say? 515-955-1400. I'm trying to text and talk to you at the same time. Had a little scheduling problems here today. Menke's gone. Greg Hora's gone. Of the pork producers, I'm just all screwed up today, and the supervisors aren't coming in. So yeah, we'll do something about that here in just a minute. Anyway, I watched the debates last night, as a lot of people did. The Democratic debate from Drake University, and of course CNN and the Des Moines Register were sponsoring this debate. I really didn't think that much of it. I don't think anything really serious was discussed. I want to hear not about illegal immigration. I don't want to hear about climate change. I don't want to hear about gay rights or transgender rights or any of those things. I want to hear how the Democratic Party is going to make it easier for all of us to live. Now, you can place your own degree of importance on all the things that I just mentioned, but though, you know, and I've said this before, we have a saying in advertising, radio advertising, heart, home, and pocketbook. If you can appeal to a person's sense of security and to where their heart is at, and their heart is always with their family and in their home, if you can appeal to that and show an advertiser how what you're doing speaks to those three things, heart, home, and pocketbook, because that's what I'm concerned about. My home, which is where my heart is, and how am I going to take care of my home and my family? How am I going to get money to live a decent life? Somehow that is escaping the Democratic Party. It's escaped the Democratic Party for quite some time now. The reason it has escaped the Democratic Party, once again, is they're as greedy as the Republicans are, as they claim the Republicans are. They want power. That's what they want. And it's sexier for them to go to California with transgender rights or go to New York with illegal immigration, and we're going to open the borders like practically every Democratic candidate has said. Or lately it's been the Iran thing. I'd like to know what these people would do about a deadly threat like Iran. Because all they want to do is talk about Trump, and Trump's bad, and Trump is this, and Trump is that. Blah, 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 blah. We have to get this lunatic out of the White House and put another lunatic in? I don't think so. I don't think that's the way to go. But the part of the program, part of the debate that caught my eye last night was Elizabeth Warren. Now, I've been supportive of Elizabeth Warren, but she has accused Bernie Sanders, another one of my guys, Senator Warren has accused Senator Sanders of telling her in the year 2018 that a woman could not win the presidency. And, of course, Bernie Sanders said, "Are you crazy?" He was asked directly on stage last night about that, and he said, "No, I never did." And then it was Elizabeth Warren's turn. Here, check this out. Check this out from the moderator. Check this out from her point of view at first, and we'll come back.
I do want to be clear here. You're saying that you never told Senator Warren that a woman could not win the election.
That is correct.
Senator Warren, what did you think when Senator Sanders told you a woman could not win the election?
Yeah, there it is right there. Yeah. Senator Sanders categorically denied he'd ever said such thing. And frankly, I cannot believe that Senator Sanders, who 30 years ago is on video talking about a woman one day being president, all of a sudden he's telling Elizabeth Warren, well, no, women can't be president. I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you what it is. Elizabeth Warren has too many Clinton and Obama staffers. And this sort of dirty little trick this late in the process is just what they would suggest, just what they would push for. I'm going to bet that Elizabeth Warren has put her foot in her mouth again, like she did with the Native American thing. I'm very disappointed in her. She has put her foot in it again, into a big pile of goo, and she has no one to back her up on this statement. She had nothing to back up her contention that she was the Native American, even though she was hailed. Are you ready for this? Harvard University welcomed her into their ranks, and they hailed her as one of the first people of color in her department. Now take a look at Elizabeth Warren and tell me if you think she's a person of color. Because I don't. Let's hear the rest of it. This is beautiful.
I disagreed. Bernie is my friend, and I am not here to try to fight with Bernie. But look, this question about whether or not a woman can be president has been raised, and it's time for us to attack it head on. And I think the best way to talk about who can win is by looking at people's winning record. So, can a woman beat Donald Trump? Look at the men on this stage. Collectively, they have lost 10 elections. The only people on this stage who have won every single election that they've been in are the women, Amy and me.
See, all of a sudden, this is a big feminist thing. Oh, yes, Elizabeth. Oh, yes, yes. You and Senator Klobuchar are the only ones who've never lost an election. Well, that's more than just a little unfair. But she got it done, didn't she? She got it done. She made herself look like a victim once again. She's a minority, a woman this time, and she's been victimized. I'm seriously reevaluating my support for Elizabeth Warren. This is not the way we do things. We don't use these cheap stunts that cannot be verified and then shroud yourself in victimhood like the Democratic Party seems to demand of its leaders. Well, if you've been victimized somehow, you're a great candidate. Or if you're an oppressed group, oh, God, we want to talk to you. This is who we are. No, it's a bunch of rich white people. It always is. It's a bunch of rich white people that are in the Democratic Party. And they're liberal on social issues. That's end of story. Anyway, here's Bernie Sanders. See if he sounds more credible.
In 2015,
I deferred, in fact, to Senator Warren. There was a movement to draft Senator Warren to run for president. And you know what? I stayed back. Senator Warren decided not to run, and I did run afterwards. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by 3 million votes. How could anybody in a million years not believe that a woman could become president of the United States? And let me be very clear. If any of the women on this stage or any of the men on this stage win the nomination, I hope that's not the case. I hope it's me. But if they do, I will do everything in my power to make sure that they are elected in order to defeat the most dangerous president in the history of our country.
Now, do you think that sounds more credible, or do you think Elizabeth Warren sounds more credible? Because I'll tell you, I reevaluated my support for Warren in the last minute. I will no longer support Elizabeth Warren. I think she's lying. I think she's lying again. I think she was talked into this by her former Clinton and Obama staffers who believe in this sort of thing, to throw it out there and get part of the base energized, in this case women, because Elizabeth Warren thinks that women are her core constituency. Maybe she's right. Maybe that's what her polling says. But she's lying. I do not believe her for the reasons Bernie Sanders just said. I'm 67 years old. I thought we were going to have a female president long before this. In fact, I'll be 68 next month. Whoa. What am I still doing working? Anyway, I know there's going to be another woman president. I thought it would be, I thought we would have a woman president before this. The reason we don't, as far as I'm concerned, is we have the seriously unlikable Hillary Clinton always demanding to be the nominee. Nobody wants Hillary to be the president. Yes, she won the popular vote, but my God, she was running against Donald Trump, who thought he would win. It shouldn't have been that close. And not only was it close, Trump won. My God. So I'm, yeah, I've reconsidered my support for Elizabeth Warren, and I will not support her now. I think, again, let me flat out say this again. I think she's lying. You know, and I'll tell you, sometimes, and I understand this is the way she can be at times, because she went all in on that Native American thing. She had an ancestry done going back several generations, and it proved that she really did not have a minority in her bloodline. Even though she said, well, this confirms everything that all the rumors in my family down through the generations. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Elizabeth Warren has a problem. She gets a hold of something and she wants to believe it so bad. It sounds so good that she can't let it go. And pretty soon in her mind it becomes real. So she may be sitting there last night telling herself this is true. It's not. It's not. I think the field just got a little shorter. By the way, the disturbing part of all this, Joe Biden is leading nationally by 9 points. Anyway, here's Jimmy Fallon on Warren and Sanders.
And tonight, everyone was focused on Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren after Bernie reportedly told her a woman can't win the presidency. Most Americans disagreed, while every Oscar voter sided with Bernie. Really?
Every Oscar voter. Anyway, this is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for Dodge. You're certainly welcome to join the conversation. I did want to point out, and this is kind of sickening, but it's kind of funny at the same time, that there are two school janitors, two Eastern Iowa school janitors, who are facing felony charges after they gave drugs to a teenager. Now, the first thing I thought, of course, was, where were janitors like this when I was in school? But it turns out that these two people, a woman, Kimberly K. Butterball, and James William Huber, she's 54, he's 49, not only did they give a teenager drugs, it was a 15-year-old girl that they actually took to their apartment December 18th. So I'm taking it back. I'm really glad that we didn't have school janitors like that when I was a kid. It would have been disgusting.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Oh, yeah, here we go. 226 AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. It's cold. I'm going to get out my space heater. Ira Shivers coming in about 3:30 this afternoon to discuss the world of white Fort Dodge and white Webster County. And a real treat this afternoon at 3, we'll have City Councilman Nevin Conrad, one of my favorite councilmen. All right, the news is next at AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
A crop that went beyond expectations. Hello, I'm Megan Grebner, and this is Managing for Profit on Brownfield, a content partnership with the Roundup Ready Extended Crop System. Looking back at his 2019 soybean harvest numbers, Southern Illinois farmer Fred Helms says he was impressed.
We ended up with soybean yields that were above and beyond my highest level of expectation.
We'll find out more on Brownfield right after this.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer? The Drug Facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the Drug Facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/Drug Facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've messed up your daughter's haircut. Do you A, get spiritual?
Mom, where's the mirror?
Beauty is within. Oh.
B, find the positives?
Less time blow drying, more time texting?
Or C, show empathy?
Mom, you really don't have to.
Twinsies.
I kinda love it. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Delayed planting and constant battles with Mother Nature left many farmers uncertain how yields would end up for 2019. Southern Illinois farmer Fred Helms said he needed a crop with flexibility from the beginning, as weather added twists and turns to the planting season.
We ended up spraying some of the burn down, and that not too far ahead of planting, being able to use a system where we could come in and plant right behind some of those burn down products without any worry about injury to the seedling and emergence was a big relief. But also, as we got into the month of June and we're planting, because of the wet year, had a lot of ability with Mother Nature to dilute some of the residual herbicides that were put down early, so that coming in with a strong post-emergence program about 3 weeks after planting was incredibly important to maintaining clean fields.
He tells Brownfield when harvest rolled around, he could not have been happier when evaluating the crop's performance.
We ended up with soybean yields that were above and beyond my highest level of expectation given the planting date and the conditions. We know late April to mid-May soybeans have the most opportunity for the highest yield, and here we were planting all of our soybeans during the first 3 weeks of June, so we knew that we were likely to be reduced, but we just didn't know how much. And when we were there harvesting, we were surprised in that our soybean yields this year were actually our second best ever, and that we did not have the degree of yield penalty from delayed planting. Apparently everything else in the system, but also the genetics, which have improved dramatically with the newer varieties the last 3 or 4 years that have been added into the lineup, were able to power through the adversity of the year and give us the top yields that we received.
I'm Megan Grebner with Managing for Profit on Brownfield, a content partnership with the Roundup Ready Extend Crop System.
BASF has launched a new industry initiative to eradicate pigweeds on farm. Kate Greif, marketing manager.
To me, success for Operation Weed Eradication really comes back to having an industry that's partnered together on finding a program that works for controlling pigweed, water hemp, and the difficult weeds we have out there today. And so we need to come together as an industry from a mechanical standpoint, with chemistry, with university partners, people banding together and saying, this is the approach we need to take for the long-term viability and stewardship of the tools we have for us today. And then I also think it comes back to being able to say, I'm comfortable with the weed control program I have today, and it's doing what I need it to do. And then finally, we're talking about a mindset shift. Success to me is really about changing that mindset from managing to controlling those weeds on farm and banding together as an industry to do that.
Learn more at OperationWeedEradication.com.
I got serious about staying fit just a couple of years ago. Now 5Ks, yoga, and smart nutrition are all part of my weekly routine. Part of my eating right plan? Country Hearth Breads. Natural breads with the whole grains and natural ingredients my body needs to perform at its best. Just a slice of toasted multigrain with peanut butter before a workout, and I'm ready to roll. Country Hearth is the easy choice because it's good for me and great tasting too. Country Hearth Breads, baking our best for you.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/search. That's ZipRecruiter.com/search.
As the nation's leader in pork production and pork exports, Iowa's pork producers are doing things right. It's their ethical and moral responsibility. Hog farmers keep their pigs safe and healthy, safeguard natural resources, protect public health, and build strong communities every day. Pork quality, responsible production, and continuous improvement are roles they take very seriously. Iowa's pork producers, producing safe, affordable food. Sponsored by Iowa's pork producers and their pork checkoff.
The Webster County pork producers remind you when it comes to protecting their family's health, Iowa's pig farmers are some of the most concerned people around. Safe, affordable, delicious, and nutritious pork can be served for your dinner tonight. Roasted, grilled, stewed, sautéed, stir-fried, broiled, kebabbed, sauced, dipped, sandwiched in your new recipes and your old recipes. Why not buy some pork today and serve it up tonight? This message brought to you by the Webster County pork producers, striving to serve people, pigs, and the planet.
From the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom, I'm Rob Jones. The Fort Dodge Police Department is reporting traffic collisions and slick intersections due to hazardous roadway conditions from the winter weather today. Please exercise caution when driving in the area this afternoon and evening. A Webster City man who illegally possessed over 60 firearms has been sentenced to over 2 years in federal prison. 53-year-old Greg Claude received the prison term on Monday after pleading guilty in August to possession of firearms by a controlled substance abuser. At the plea hearing, Claude admitted that he was a daily user of methamphetamine and that in May 2018 he was in possession of multiple firearms. Evidence at the hearing also showed that after a burglary arson investigation, which involved the theft of over 150 firearms in Calhoun County, law enforcement was made aware of Claude's possession of several stolen firearms in May of 2018. A search of Claude's residence in May 2018 turned up drug paraphernalia and methamphetamine. Officers later seized almost 70 guns, including 33 that had been stolen during the burglary arson. The Iowa caucuses are just under 3 weeks away, and many Iowa Democrats are still undecided and mulling over the field of candidates. Radio Iowa's O.K. Henderson with more.
Daniel Schoenfelder of Newton is like a lot of Iowans who are planning to attend a caucus February 3rd. He hasn't picked a candidate
Really
yet.
undecided, so really like to keep all the options open.
For Tom Moberg of Altoona, it's a coin flip between Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders.
Probably the one that can take down Trump.
The Des Moines Register CNN Iowa poll showed 13% of likely caucus goers are undecided, plus another 45% who said they were supporting a candidate indicated they might be persuaded to support someone else caucus night. 67-year-old Mary Jane Spees of Ankeny has ruled out the older candidates.
Partly because of the age thing, and partly because what they're suggesting is wonderful, but I don't see that it can be paid for. Everybody else that isn't in that realm, they're so close that I haven't decided.
Bindi Brown of Des Moines has narrowed her choice down to Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar, so when will she decide?
Caucus night.
Radio Iowa, I'm OK Henderson.
In sports, high school basketball from last night and games you heard on 105.9 The Beach. The South Central Calhoun Titans with a split against Humboldt last night on the road. In the girls' game, the Titans would fall for the first time in the calendar year of 2020 by a count of 38-30. Humboldt would outscore South Central Calhoun 17-5 in the fourth quarter to take the win. Emma McKinney would lead the Titans with 10. In the boys' game, the Titans would come back after trailing 35-32 at the half and outscore Humboldt 53-38 in the second half to get the win 85-73. Zane Newbaum was the story for the Titans offensively as he went off and had this play to get momentum back for the Titans.
Ball stolen away. Here comes the new bomb. Zane, up and slammed home. And just like that, Zane scores 7 straight.
Brian Peters on the call of the Zane Newbaum dunk. Newbaum would have a season-high 40. 3 other Titans would score in double figures, including Cole Corey, Landon Sliceman, and Josh Dietrich. The South Central Calhoun boys now have won 5 games in a row. The Fort Dodge Dodgers were swept in games you heard on 92 Rock at home by Waukee last night. In the girls' game, Waukee would get off to a hot start and build a 10-point lead after the first quarter. They would lead 41-15 at the half and end up winning 70-26. 3 Waukee players in double figures led by Reagan Bartholomew with 15. Torrey Bennett led the Dodgers with 8. The Dodger boys would fall to number 1 ranked Waukee by a score of 76-40. For Waukee, 2 Division I prospects led the way. Tucker DeVries had 16. Peyton Sampford had a game-high 19. For the Dodgers, Ty Kershaw had 12. The Dodgers got off to a slow start, found themselves trailing 24-7 after the first, and 44-19 at the half. Waukee would cruise from there. The Dodgers back in action on Friday in Game 2 of a 7-game homestand hosted Mason City. That's your Alpha Media News Update from the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom. I'm Rob Jones.
This is AM 1400, KVFD, the voice for Dodge. It's 2:38, 22 minutes now before 3 o'clock, and Nevin Conrad, followed by Ira Shivers. First, let me give you the weather. It's going to be sunny today with a high of 25. We've already been there, by the way. It's 21 right now. Very windy today and miserable. Frankly, the wind chill factor temperatures will be below 0. Overnight, mostly clear with a low of 4 degrees below 0. Wind chill factor temperature 20 degrees below 0. Be careful if you're going out tonight. That's dangerous cold. Tomorrow, or rather Thursday, sunny with a high all the way up to 13. Wind chill factor temperature 15 to 20 degrees below 0 on Thursday. Getting kind of sharp outside. On Friday, we're going to have some snow, then snow possibly mixed with freezing rain. The snow could be heavy at times with patchy blowing snow and all that jazz. Our high will be 31 degrees. We could have 3 to 7 inches on Friday and Friday night into Saturday morning. On Saturday, we do have a chance of snow before noon, patchy blowing snow, mostly cloudy with a high of 22. Sunday, mostly sunny and cold with a high of 5. Martin Luther King's birthday on Monday, it'll be sunny and cold with a high of 5. And Tuesday, it'll be sunny with a high of 14 degrees. Right now, again, it's 21. I guess that's going to be as warm as we get for this week. Tuesday, only 14 degrees. Friday night into Saturday morning sounds kind of nasty. The wind's going to blow up to 40 miles per hour, and it's going to snow, and maybe we'll have some freezing rain. It just isn't going to be good. Just isn't going to be good. Anyway, obituaries this hour brought to you by Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 1615 North 15th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-7128 or online at www.gundersonfuneralhome.com. Mr. Dale Rickey has died. Mr. Dale H. Rickey passed away on Monday at the age of 81 at the Paula J. Baber Hospice Home here in Fort Dodge. There will be a funeral service memorial service, Saturday at the Good Shepherd Lutheran Church here in town with Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services serving the family. Memorials may be directed to the Good Shepherd Lutheran Church here in Fort Dodge. That's for the funeral of Dale H. Rickey, 81 years old when he passed. Obituaries this hour brought to you by Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 1615 North 15th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-7128 or online at www.gundersonfuneralhome.com. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. It's 242 and it's 21 degrees with a real nasty wind chill factor temperature. Here's the closing market reports.
Here's looking how the markets closed on Wednesday. I'm Jesse Stewart reporting. Final numbers on the day: soybeans, March down 13.5 at 928 3/4. May beans down 13.5 at 942. July beans down 13 at 954 1/4 on Wednesday. Bean meal for March down $1.90 a ton at 3 10 cents. March bean oil down 77 points at 33.30. March core down 1.5 at 387.5. May core down 2 at 394. July core down 1 3/4 at 4.5. March Chicago wheat 4 3/4 higher at 573 1/4. March Kansas City winter wheat down a half penny at 496 1/2. Feeder cattle January down 47 at 145.42. March down 55 at 145.17. Live cattle February down 25 at 126.60. April down 37 at 127.50. June live cattle down 30 at 119.42. February hogs up 20 at 67.87. April hogs down 2 at 74.97. May hogs up 37 at 81.47. I'm Jesse Stewart reporting.
Farmers can't choose the weather, trade policy, or market prices, but they can choose the most advanced dicamba with confidence. Ingenia herbicide has the lowest volatility of all dicamba salts for more successful on-target applications, and it's straight from the dicamba experts, BASF. So make the confident choice for your soybean crop. Talk to your BASF rep or authorized retailer. Ingenia herbicide is a U.S. EPA restricted use pesticide. Additional state restrictions may apply. Always read and follow label directions.
Having a high-yield harvest matters. Having a positive ROI matters even more. NK's broad genetic portfolio was developed using advanced technologies and traits, plus the latest data analytics, so we can recommend products that deliver the value you need to help maximize your operation's profit potential.
Ask your NK Realtor about S21 W8X brand soybeans. It out-yielded Asgrow AG17X8 by 3.7 bushels per acre. Visit nksoyyields.com.
Blue Ribbon, Pelham Waters, your water pro since 1949.
Do you have questions about your water? What is a whole home filter? Is my softener working or not? Can I get rid of that red stain around the sink? I'm Brian with Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters. We're here to fix problem water. We'll work with you to find the right solution for you. We've been serving the Fort Dodge area since 1949. Let us serve your water treatment needs. Sales, service, rentals. Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters, your complete water store.
Connect to this radio station from all across the country. Take us to the gym, shopping. How about a road trip? Listen to us now on the free iHeartRadio app. You'll never miss a moment with your favorite radio station. Download the free iHeartRadio app and search for this station so we can go wherever you want us to.
Mom, Dad, I'm getting married. That's wonderful, dear.
Congratulations. So have you decided on a date?
Yes, this Saturday.
What? Are you serious? We need to plan. There's so much to do. What about the church? The flowers, music, food, inviting everyone?
You would not want to be faced with those hurried decisions then. Why do that to your family with your own final arrangements? I invite you to sit down with us at Gunderson's to pre-plan your funeral. Pre-planning allows you to make thoughtful decisions with a clear mind. Give us a call at Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services, Fort Dodge.
The mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Okay, going a little country music, bumper music now, just because I like Vince Gill. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. I know you do.
We've been up all night long, trying to solve a problem. Well, it's almost dawn. Ain't no time for sleeping.
right, that's Vince Gill, AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for Dodge. No, we haven't switched over to music radio. I'm still here. Pumping the talk radio at ya, baby. I'm just feeling musical today. Just feeling musical today. It's what the Southern disc jockeys used to say, and they were great. Like, who was the guy that was killed with Buddy Holly? And the big anniversary's coming up here. I think the 61st anniversary. The Big Boppa, baby. He was a disc jockey. He had a hit record with Chantilly Lace, and he did it like a big old crew cut Texas boy. Big Bopper was 300 pounds. He goes, Chantilly Lace on a pretty face. I mean, he was just great. You know, he was great. There were a lot of innovative singers at the time that freaked out America, because America in 1959 was a pretty conservative place. I was just a little kid running around the neighborhood with, not this time of year, but I was running around the neighborhood pretty much in a white T-shirt and my jeans, which, of course, had to be rolled up so I could grow into them, and high-top black tennis shoes. I think they were springy Red Ball Jets, if I'm not mistaken. Red Ball Jets. Anybody remember Red Ball Jets? I'm sure that they sold them somewhere, and, of course, they got hot, and there were these commercials, springy Red Ball Jets, and they show some kid my age with a crew cut or a butch, and he'd put on these shoes and go bouncing several feet in the air with every step. So naturally every kid wanted one. But I got the Red Ball Jets, but by golly, you know, I didn't get that kind of spring in my step at all. There was a man, and I do not understand the world. The Supreme Court says it is legal to burn the American flag, one of their more grotesque decisions. I hope a more conservative court will have the opportunity to revisit that ugliness and overturn that decision. You know, the United States Congress nearly did it. The United States Congress nearly overturned that decision. But one of the people who cast a no vote when asked, shall we overturn this decision, was then Senator Hillary Clinton. She, of course, waited to the very end to announce her majestic decision because, of course, it had to be all about her. It was all about her husband. So she had to wait till the very end and say, no, I will not vote to overturn that Supreme Court ruling. For that alone, she should have been beat. But anyway, the Supreme Court has allowed the American flag to be sullied, defecated on, and everything else by every creep in the United States of America. However, a Hispanic man down at Ames tore down a gay rights rainbow flag. I don't know, that's probably not the right name for it, not the gay rights flag, but the rainbow flag that features gay pride primarily. The main purpose of those rainbow flags are to show diversity, of course, and to support gay pride. Well, he tore this flag off a United Unitarian Church, the Ames United Church of Christ, in Ames. It was flying over. It was over the church door or something, which they have every right to do, by the way. The Unitarians, I don't know why they call themselves a church. They seem to believe in love, and that's it, which, okay. Well, who am I to say? I mean, maybe they're involved in Christ's love and unconditional love, and that's a little confusing to me as a Catholic. We had rules and sins for everything. But, and I'm getting off the subject here again, the Ames United Church of Christ, and they are Unitarians, they had this flag over their door. Again, it's their business. It's their church. It's their property, and they have every right to do that. A man came along, Adolfo Martinez, yes, a Hispanic man, and he tore down the flag and burned it, which was crass, which was ugly. I don't support that. As you know, I'm probably not the biggest supporter of gay pride and gay rights in the state of Iowa. Matter of fact, I don't believe in assaulting and robbing gay people, and I don't really believe that they should be discriminated against. Do I think that the Iowa Supreme Court made the right ruling in Varnum? Absolutely not, but you've heard me talk about that too many times. Adolfo Martinez did this. He was arrested, and he admitted that his actions were because he disliked gay people. Now, that is a right also. You may like whoever you want. You may dislike whoever you want. You cannot cause them harm. Now, if you can burn the United States flag, how then can you be sentenced to 16 years in prison for burning the rainbow flag? Well, there's one reason. Adolfo Martinez is no angel. He's had criminal convictions in the past. Secondly, and more importantly, he offended a group that liberals are very protective of and fawn all over: gay people and gay rights people. And that's what he's going to jail for. He tore down this flag and burned it. The prosecutors in Story County considered that a hate crime. A hate crime. So Martinez is on his way to prison for 16 years. Now, I believe Martinez was drinking, which is no excuse, but I would have fully supported 30 days in jail, 90 days in jail, 6 months. 16 years? That's over the top. That's way over the top. There's a message being sent here by notoriously liberal Story County that we're in charge, and this is one of our favorite groups, and you're going to like them and accept them, or we're going to throw you in jail and ruin your life. So don't give me all this loving, tolerant, liberal people nonsense. And have you noticed a change of attitude in gay people in general? Yes, you have. They are now threatening people openly. Remember before Varnum and in the years before Varnum? Oh, we just want to live like everybody else. We don't want any special privileges. We just want what everyone else gets. That's all. We just want equal rights. Now, you better not say anything to us. You better not be anything but on board with the way we believe, or we'll ruin your life. Never mind free speech. And this is an enormous hole in free speech, by the way. Never mind free speech, these groups say. We'll go to your employer and get you fired. You'll lose your house. Your family will be destitute. You'll be ruined for life. That's free speech in America, according to these people like the Ames County or the Story County prosecutors, who are trying to throw this guy in jail for 16 years. Matter of fact, they already have. Well, Adolfo Martinez is back in the news because, and this really makes me feel like Martinez is being burned at the stake to set an example. Martinez was assigned a public defender because he didn't have any money. So the public defender he was assigned was a lesbian. I know. I'm coughing because I was saying the Story County people appointed a lesbian to represent Adolfo Martinez, who was obviously anti-gay, admittedly anti-gay. So they assign him a public defender who is gay. They're really rubbing it in this guy's face, isn't he? And I'll tell you something else. He's powerless to do anything about it. The gay rights people will do anything to you they feel like it with the full assistance of the law and the business community. Let me say that again, because we don't often think of this, but where we're at today is that gay people can come to your business and tell you you must change things. And if you don't, you're a homophobe. They'll take you to court, and the professional class, liberal lawyers and prosecutors will make things very difficult for you. They'll ruin your life. So don't give me all this nonsense about the loving, liberal, tolerant left. They're anything but. They're mean-spirited authoritarians, and poor old Adolfo here is going to do years in prison. For what? For what? If he'd have burned the American flag, he'd have been fine. He burns the rainbow flag, and he's going up the river. So anyway, Adolfo Martinez originally would have received a maximum of around 3 years in prison for this conviction, but the hate crime status is what got him. The hate crime status bumped the arson charge from aggravated misdemeanor to a felony because he doesn't like gays. You understand what I'm saying here? The implication here? You're all right. We're going to tell you it's all right to like or dislike whoever you want. And you can dislike gays. But if it comes out publicly, we're going to send you to prison. We're going to ruin you because we don't like you. And we're going to make an example of you to everyone. And here's the lesson. A bunch of prosecutors, a bunch of attorneys, and it's the lesson we've had to see and learn 1,000 times. A bunch of attorneys have gotten together and decided this is the way your life is going to be. This is the way your life is going to be. And if you disagree, heck, you might get the 3 years. Just disagreeing, it sounds like, might get you in big trouble. An attorney was quoted as saying, I think it's very interesting. I think it's a very interesting issue in that the First Amendment right to freedom of expression covers things like burning the American flag, but burning the rainbow flag is somehow criminalized. Now, this is a case that begs to go to the Supreme Court, the new one. We got most of the liberals out of there, especially that Wiggins character. You remember David Wiggins, don't you? He was the one that was who insisted that same-sex people be listed on a birth certificate. Never mind the reality that same-sex people can't be parents. They cannot procreate. A man cannot be with a man and a child will result. Same with women. Made no difference at all to the noble David Wiggins. And he said, and this is a quote, any other reason given to justify not putting same-sex people on a birth certificate is stereotyping and prejudiced. And the great man dropped his gavel, and so it was. My God. Do we really want to leave this world to our kids? Are we going to sit around and be pushed around by these people? We want change. I'll tell you something, that Democratic debate last night was not about change. They're going to put up some half-baked candidate like Biden, who looks like Sanders' dad, or Mayor Pete, who really doesn't have much of a record, but he is gay. And don't think that doesn't mean a lot in the Democratic Party. And they're going to lose again. 3 o'clock, Nevin Conrad, my man, is up next. This is KVFD, Fort Dodge, Iowa.
From tuning an engine to replacing a fuse, you can learn it all under the hood. Heard every Saturday afternoon from 2 till 4 on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD.
History made at the White House. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Trump signing the Phase 1 trade deal with China.
For years, politicians ran for office promising action to remedy these practices, only to do nothing but allow them to continue. And it was pillage.
Tariffs remain in place until a Phase 2 is ready, but existing tariffs have been eased, and China is pledging to purchase $200 billion more from the U.S. over 2 years, along with reforms to address the theft of intellectual property. New records on Wall Street. The Dow up 93 points at the closing bell, closing above 29,000 for the first time. Meantime, the U.S. House votes to send impeachment to the U.S. Senate. Fox's Jared Halpern is live on Capitol Hill.
The two House chairs at the center of the impeachment inquiry will now present the case in an upcoming Senate impeachment trial.
The appropriate remedy, indeed the only remedy,
is the conviction and removal from office of President Donald Trump.
Intelligence Committee Chairman Democrat Adam Schiff has been named lead impeachment manager. Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler will also act as an impeachment manager. In total, 7 House Democrats will act as prosecutors. A final vote is authorized, sending 2 articles of impeachment to the Senate. That movement is expected tomorrow, triggering the start of just the 3rd impeachment trial of a president. Lisa.
Well, Jared, a bipartisan event moments ago on Capitol Hill as lawmakers honor former NFL player Steve Gleason for his efforts to fight ALS while battling Lou Gehrig's disease himself.
Our greatest strength as a species has been our ability to bravely share our weaknesses and vulnerabilities with each other.
Using technology there to speak through a voice translator as he received the Congressional Gold Medal. America is listening to Fox News.
New year, new budgets. Every small business has unique needs. When you partner with a Dell Small Business Technology Advisor, you get real-time, tailored advice. They'll even give you a free audit on your servers and storage devices to develop a custom solution to help improve your company's productivity. Plus, right now, upgrade to Windows 10 and get up to 45% off select business computers with Intel Core processors. To speak with a Dell advisor, call 877-BY-DELL. That's 877-BY-DELL.
This is a last chance alert. It's happening. In just days, Publishers Clearinghouse will award $5,000 a week forever. Enter now at PCH.com and you could win $5,000 a week for your life. Plus, after that, $5,000 a week for life for someone you choose. The $5,000 a week forever prize is guaranteed to be awarded on February 28th. So don't miss your last chance to win. Enter at PCH.com before it's too late. That's PCH.com. Hurry, award day is almost here. Go to PCH.com now. Entries due 2/25. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited.
3 people under investigation after a live mortar round was found in their vehicle at the Pearl Harbor military base.
Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam spokesman Chuck Anthony says vehicles often accidentally end up at the base and security ends up turning them around. But late Tuesday night, one of those vehicles contained 3 people inside, and officials at the checkpoint became suspicious.
The security guard first noticed the smell of marijuana and stopped the vehicle to ask additional questions, and then noticed what looked like some sort of ordnance round.
It turned out to be a live round. Service members disposed of it, and the 3 individuals were taken into custody by NCIS for questioning. Anthony says the 3 were civilians with no military affiliation. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
Conservation groups are suing the Trump administration over a Taiwan company's plan for a $9 billion plastics plant in Louisiana. The lawsuit accuses the Army Corps of Engineers of failing to disclose environmental damage and public health risks while fast-tracking permits for the project. The Corps declining to comment on pending litigation. Only a limited number of cheese lovers will get to enjoy this.
And the cheese stands alone. A very special cheddar, aged 20 years. So cheesy, so mellow, so special, it's priced at $209 a pound. Hook's Cheese Company in Mineral Point, Wisconsin, offered the select cheddar only once before in 2015, even then for $209 a pound. Owners Tony and Julie Hook taste testing the batch say it's similar, very smooth, nice, clean flavor. So popular, they're churning out 500 pounds this year. Last time, 450 pounds sold out completely in 2 days.
Fox's Therese Crowley. Half the proceeds going to a dairy innovation hub aimed at improving nutrition, clean water, and the farm economy while caring for the animals who make the cheese possible. Again, the Dow closing above 29K for the first time. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
From the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom, I'm Rob Jones. The Fort Dodge Police Department is reporting traffic collisions and slick intersections due to hazardous roadway conditions from the winter weather today. Please exercise caution when driving in the area this afternoon and evening. A Webster City man who illegally possessed over 60 firearms has been sentenced to over 2 years in federal prison. 53-year-old Greg Claude received the prison term on Monday after pleading guilty in August to possession of firearms by a controlled substance abuser. At the plea hearing, Claude admitted that he was a daily user of methamphetamine and that in May 2018 he was in possession of multiple firearms. Evidence at the hearing also showed that after a burglary arson investigation, which involved the theft of over 150 firearms in Calhoun County, law enforcement was made aware of Claude's possession of several stolen firearms in May of 2018. A search of Claude's residence in May 2018 turned up drug paraphernalia and methamphetamine. Officers later seized almost 70 guns, including 33 that had been stolen during the burglary arson. The Iowa caucuses are just under 3 weeks away, and many Iowa Democrats are still undecided and mulling over the field of candidates. Radio Iowa's O.K. Henderson with more.
Daniel Schoenfelder of Newton is like a lot of Iowans who are planning to attend a caucus February 3rd. He hasn't picked a candidate
Really
yet.
undecided, so really like to keep all the options open.
For Tom Moberg of Altoona, it's a coin flip between Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders.
Probably the one that can take down Trump.
The Des Moines Register CNN Iowa poll showed 13% of likely caucus goers are undecided, plus another 45% who said they were supporting a candidate indicated they might be persuaded to support someone else caucus night. 67-year-old Mary Jane Spees of Ankeny has ruled out the older candidates.
Partly because of the age thing, and partly because what they're suggesting is wonderful, but I don't see that it can be paid for. Everybody else that isn't in that realm, they're so close that I haven't decided.
Bindi Brown of Des Moines has narrowed her choice down to Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar, so when will she decide?
Caucus night.
Radio Iowa, I'm O.K. Henderson.
In sports, high school basketball from last night and games you heard on 105.9 The Beach. The South Central Calhoun Titans with a split against Humboldt last night on the road. In the girls' game, the Titans would fall for the first time in the calendar year of 2020 by a count of 38-30. Humboldt would outscore South Central Calhoun 17-5 in the fourth quarter to take the win. Emma McKinney would lead the Titans with 10. In the boys' game, the Titans would come back after trailing 35-32 at the half and outscore Humboldt 53-38 in the second half to get the win 85-73. Zane Newbaum was the story for the Titans offensively as he went off and had this play to get momentum back for the Titans.
Ball stolen away. Here comes a new bomb. Zane up and slammer home. And just like that, Zane scores 7 straight.
Brian Peters on the call of the Zane Newbaum dunk. Newbaum would have a season-high 40. 3 other Titans would score in double figures, including Cole Corey, Landon Sliceman, and Josh Dietrich. The South Central Calhoun boys now have won 5 games in a row. The Fort Dodge Dodgers were swept in games you heard on 92 Rock at home by Waukee last night. In the girls' game, Waukee would get off to a hot start and build a 10-point lead after the first quarter. They would lead 41-15 at the half and end up winning 70-26. 3 Waukee players in double figures led by Reagan Bartholomew with 15. Torrey Bennett led the Dodgers with 8. The Dodger boys would fall to number 1 ranked Waukee by a score of 76-40. For Waukee, 2 Division I prospects led the way. Tucker DeVries had 16. Peyton Sanford had a game-high 19. For the Dodgers, Ty Kershaw had 12. The Dodgers got off to a slow start, found themselves trailing 24-7 after the first, and 44-19 at the half. Waukee would cruise from there. The Dodgers back in action on Friday in Game 2 of a 7-game homestand hosted Mason City. That's your Alpha Media News Update from the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom. I'm Rob Jones.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun this afternoon with a high of 25. Northwest winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Lows level off around 4 below. Tonight, mainly clear skies and quiet. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Tomorrow, highs around 13. 5 to 10 inches of snow tomorrow night through Friday night. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 21.
Blue Ribbon, Pelham Waters, your water pro since 1949.
Who would have thought there'd be entire aisles devoted to bottled water, and that people would buy more water than pop? I'm Brian with Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters here in Fort Dodge. Spring water, drinking water, mineral water. There's so many choices, and we're proud to offer you them all. From our own refreshingly pure drinking water to ultra-pure Mountain Valley spring water, Blue Ribbon Pelham's is your complete water store.
Iowa hog farmers have a lot to be proud of.
Proud of the quality products we put on tables around the world.
Proud of the strides we make to protect Iowa's natural resources.
Proud of the number of Iowans we're able to employ in safe workplaces.
Proud to protect and promote animal well-being in everything we do.
Iowa pork producers are proud because they do it right. And that's something all Iowans can take pride in.
Sponsored by Iowa's pork producers and their pork checkoff.
Iowa's pork producers work hard daily to produce safe, affordable food. Through the industry's We Care initiative, hog farmers are firmly committed to doing things right. That means keeping their pigs safe and healthy, safeguarding natural resources, protecting public health, and building strong communities. Producers fully understand the importance of pork quality, responsible production, and continuous improvement. It's the moral and ethical thing to do. Sponsored by Iowa's pork producers and their pork checkoff.
Michael Devine at AM 1400.
In the name of justice and the American way of life.
With 60 rounds of freedom.
That's right. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for Dodge. I'm Michael Devine, 3:12 in the afternoon. And I really want to thank Councilman Nevin Conrad for showing up on such short notice. Menke didn't show up today. He's somewhere, and he's usually here in the 2 o'clock hour. And then Greg Hora, the pork producers, is usually here at this time. Of course, Greg hasn't really made it here that often here in the last several months, mainly because of farming. But we do have Councilman Conrad, and I hope to have Councilman Conrad on semi-regularly. You work in Pokey some days, don't you?
Yes, have offices in Humboldt, Lorenz, Fonda, and potentially have one here in Fort Dodge in the near future as well.
What's the name of your firm?
Conrad and Lemonis.
Okay. Yep. All right. Is your partner a male or female?
Male, Andy.
Okay.
He's in the Humboldt office full time.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. I know Supervisor Conrad is in Des Moines with Supervisor Campbell. How do you feel about that? I don't know if I'd like my sister down in Des Moines with Mark Campbell.
They're off doing big things. I'm just a lowly council member over here.
You're just a low, well, the supervisors do cover a lot of ground, They just, Keith covers a lot of ground. Of course, he's in Maui or wherever he is, That guy knows how to live, I'll tell you. Anyway, I'm glad, and I thank you again for coming in here at the last minute. There's been a lot of, of course, the governor's State of the State address, and there's just been a lot of things going on, but and there's been a lot of things going on in our little part of the world as well. The council has decided that they want to, as this Messenger article refers to, commit to the mall. Of course, the mall will not be the mall that we knew.
Mm-hmm,
this will be considerably different.
Yes.
Now, we have the JCPenney store, the old JCPenney store, big store standing there unoccupied, and the Yonkers store. Are there plans to tear those stores down as Sears was torn down or not?
My understanding of this from the new owner, the developer, is that the entire mall complex is going to come down.
All of it is.
And it's going to be an all-new redevelopment. The positive to that is my understanding is there's been several businesses that have already reached out in interest in developing in that area.
Oh, good.
Which I honestly I don't believe would happen had there not have been some form of redevelopment in that area. So it's exciting to see. It'll be a big transition, but ultimately the previous owners, right before this transaction, if you look at their portfolio of assets, they bought and acquired a lot of these malls throughout the nation, and I believe from what I understand is that company believes that there will be a resurgence in malls, and so they're essentially acting as a holding company, buying cheap in the hopes of selling 10, 15 plus years down the line if there's a resurgence. But I just might be pessimistic, but I don't see that happening.
Well, we're now in a winter storm watch. Excuse me for interrupting, Councilman, but Yeah, winter storm watch has been issued for Webster County. That's not a surprise, I guess.
Everybody go to the grocery store after I go.
Oh, this will be the grocery stores are always. I'm going to go.
Yep.
I'm going to go. I'm going to make sure I get over there. But anyway, Councilman Nevin Conrad is our guest now. This will not be an indoor mall anymore, so we've kind of come full circle. When I was a little kid, that was an open air mall out there.
The 3 anchors, open air in between, and then it got all closed up. So really, the whole site's going to change. It's going to be, I think the vision of it is more of your, is it Jordan Creek Parkway, the little kind of clusters of businesses. That's sort of the vision. And then the idea in recruiting new potential retail is not just going to one company and saying, hey, come in here. You go to that company and you go to 1 or 2 other companies that are somewhat related to them. They kind of work off of each other and say, hey, we're going to bring you guys in as a package, put you all in the same area. That way, if somebody's coming into an Ulta Beauty for a makeup store, that you maybe have like a Victoria's Secret, something else next door to it, kind of an interrelated retail sphere that drives business for all of those companies that may be coming in. So with that, and that's the benefit is this isn't a situation of the developer just tearing it down and going, hey, I hope we get some businesses coming in. It is the city is actively working. We've got the retail coach involved as well too. The developer is completely on board and gung-ho about getting this done too. So there's a lot of different entities all moving in a coordinated direction to get it to hopefully take place. And to be quite frank, I think it's probably likely we see some form of development this year. There's no guarantees of it, but just based off of some of the conversations I've heard, I think it's likely that we see a business or two move to some of the open areas, not where the mall structure is, but maybe some of the other open areas around there. So, which would be good to kind of get a nice jump start.
Now, Blessing Enterprises of St. Charles, Missouri, owned the old Sears building.
Correct.
And it's been leveled now.
Yep.
Blessing Enterprises got almost $1.5 million for that.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa! Who paid that? Did the new developer or?
Well, so what happened was that was going to be. This all kind of got shaken out here in the past 6 months. So the plan was for the city to help with demolition costs for that Sears building because that's a separate parcel from the rest of the mall.
Right.
Now when. Oh man, I'm gonna forget. I think it's ATI, the new developer.
Right. Yeah.
When they came in, they saw the opportunity to then go ahead and purchase that Sears parcel as well. So it is all going to be owned by ATI. And so
it says the group that bought them all is Namdar Realty Group from New York City.
That is the previous owner.
Oh, they are the previous owner.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Because Namdar was the owner, basically that holding company, like I was talking about.
Oh, they're buying the rest for $3.3 million.
That's where, the developer's coming in and buying it.
Wow, wizard.
Yep. And that's where, in terms of timing, I think that this was kind of a crucial point in time to be able to do this. So to get the entire site development ready, I believe the amount that it would cost is about $18 a foot. And most of your companies that are going to come in want to pay $2 to $4. So there's no feasible way to cover that gap, and that's where the city comes in through tax increment financing, is to make an otherwise impossible deal possible by utilizing those TIF funds.
Derek has been a master at TIF, hasn't he? He really has.
It has been, and this is a huge chunk of TIF right here, but when you think of that mall parcel, and it's the heartbeat of our commercial center in this town. And I think I had mentioned it on air during the election season was, we've got the option right now. Do we try to jumpstart that heart through this redevelopment, or do we just let it go? And if it goes, again, costs are only going to increase. The cost to demo and redevelop that in the future are going to be more than they are today. That's a given.
I have rarely heard of anything dropping in price, except microwave ovens over here. But,
And so that's the thing is, do we do it now and try to revitalize that area the best we can in this position, or do we wait 10 years for, I want to say one of the anchor stores has maybe a year or so left under their lease.
Mm-hmm.
You take that lease away, and I mean, that's a significant chunk of change coming to the mall, previous ownership.
Sure.
And they weren't showing any interest in reinvesting in the parcel. So 10 years down the line, do we have an even more dilapidated mall that's now economically impossible for anyone to redevelop?
The big question, of course, and I've talked with this about other councilmen, I've talked about this with people all over the country that I knew years ago who went on to become economists and developers and all of these things. If the age of malls isn't over, that if we get this mall going and up like this, is it going to be profitable enough for anyone? I mean, are people going to go to the malls, people your age and younger? I mean, under 40, actually, which is older than you, I know. But are people really going to keep going to the malls? Online sales are through the roof, as you know.
Mm-hmm. From my perspective, I've got 3 boys now. Married, 3 boys. And so from my perspective, shopping online is easier for me than, taking a special trip down to Des Moines for something. Because my wife will say there's some places around where you can do like dress shopping.
Sure.
But that more professional or dress shopping, things like that, there's not much of an option out there. And kids' clothing is, extremely difficult to get anything in terms of that. So if you can hit some of these areas that, there's definitely deficiencies in our retail market of what can be provided that's a want or a need that is not currently being provided. I think we hit some of those. And then when you bring those in, you can start accenting your retail environment with, like the makeup
Best
shops,
Buy?
things like that. Best Buy, yeah, huge.
I'd love to see a Best Buy.
Yep. So I think, but the thing about that is I don't think you approach it as you just drop a huge big box in and expect that, that a giant Best Buy is going to float here in our 25,000 population town. I think if I were these businesses, I'd take the approach of Buffalo Wild Wings and do a smaller footprint. At one point, and it could still be, I think that was the smallest Buffalo Wild Wings in the nation.
I haven't seen one as small as this one. My son and his wife like to go to a Buffalo Wild Wings in Cedar Rapids, and it's a big sucker.
Oh, yeah. But I think you do a small footprint. You reduce some of that overhead and your other associated costs with it. And I think if you scale back your layouts, I think these stores that would otherwise not sustain in our environment could sustain with that kind of more scaled back approach.
I hope and pray that it works. I'm a mall guy. I like to see things. People run down to Des Moines to buy cars. I don't. And I don't for very practical reasons. One, the Des Moines guys will think you're spending less at their car dealership. You're not. And second, if I have a problem with my car, I'm going to call Casey Johnson or Bruce Shimkat or Kim out there. You know? That's just the name of that tune. But anyway, Nevin Conrad, City Councilman, is our guest. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Of course, I'm always barking about my poor MediaCom service. And really, it's still not up to snuff. I had 3 technicians in a week there. You believe that?
I saw your Facebook post.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And, I've just literally given up. My service is not where it should be, not what was promised. And so I will again ask about broadband. Gowrie has it. Lauraville's going to have it. Gowrie is always, I've had Marcy Borner up here.
Yep.
She's always talking about what great service they have.
The difference is those smaller communities, those even more rural aspects, get the advantage of federal subsidies to offset that.
I didn't hear that.
Where a Fort Dodge would not have that opportunity because of the size and the scope and the fact that
25,000 is too big?
Yep.
Really?
And so at this point in time with the broadband issue is we just have to continue to do the due diligence and figure out and get some hard numbers as to what amount of users would potentially utilize this that are currently under existing providers, seeing what the price range would be to make sure that whatever that next step we take is that it is feasible long term, that it makes sense, so that we're not diving in full blast, not knowing what's out there, and we check our boxes. So,
I really got to shut my doggone phone off every time I turn around.
You said you're in a musical mood today.
I was, but I think I've heard my phone go off with that old Beatles song how many times. There's Ira Shivers. He's going to be on next.
How you doing? Good.
We're going to talk about the white man, the evil white man. You know who the evil white man is?
I got to get out of here.
It's Nevin.
It's me.
Nevin, he's the evil white man. There he is. No, I do got to, and we're going to get to Ira here in the next half hour, the next hour, actually. But I do want to talk a little bit about the Warden Plaza.
Yep.
It's a painful eyesore in our town.
Right down the block.
Right down the block from Ira, yeah. Well, we looked at plans one day over at Ira's, and we didn't see Ira's Cafe.
Yeah, and that, even the last time we talked about this a couple months back, nothing new's happened. We talked about April kind of being that date, and I'm guessing here in the next couple months we'll get a nice update. And my position's the same as it was then, is that if the developer does not have everything in place come that deadline in April, then my position, I'm 1 of 7, but my position is we cut ties.
We got to do something else, yeah.
Because there's been ample opportunities, and I get some of the things have been out of the control of the developer, but still there's been ample opportunities for them to get everything in place. We've had Matt Brown there to do more than assist them in terms of making this thing fly.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can't make that happen, and they've known the April deadline for 6, 7, 8, 9 months. So they can't do that, then
well, they were supposed to open an office here in Fort Dodge.
Yeah, they never did that.
They never did that.
Nope.
I'm suddenly hungry because Ira smells like fries.
I haven't been to TC Mays in a long time.
Well, you get over there, man.
Oh, I love it.
You gotta get over
I love it.
Ira has
Soul Food Thursday.
Tomorrow. Is it?
I'm out of town tomorrow, though.
Yeah. What do you got? Soul food. What kind of soul food do you got? I suppose what that be.
Well, we're doing pork chops.
Pork chop.
I don't know if I'm gonna grill them or fry them. More probably fry them.
I was going to say it's going to be cold as hell out there. You can go out there and stand if you want to, but I ain't going out there.
Homemade mac and cheese, collard greens, cornbread, and I don't know what I'm going to do for dessert.
Collard greens.
I tell you what, if there is someone listening that has not been to TC Mays, make time. Go down there. I promise you will not be disappointed.
No.
We used to, when Jordan Brackey was county attorney, we'd be down there every juvenile court day. Yeah. And then, the juvenile group has shrunk since then. We haven't been down there as much, but I gotta get back in.
Do you well, I guess that's
I went and had one of those big breakfast sandwiches one day. What do you call
Ultimate.
The ultimate breakfast? I ate that sucker and I went home and slept 4 hours. The waitress came over and says, "I don't think you can eat this." So I had the challenge thrown down.
There's the other thing. If you're having trouble sleeping at night, just go eat at TC Mays. Have a nice big meal.
Absolutely.
You know it.
No, I thought the waitress was challenging me. Oh yeah,
she probably was.
So I ate that sucker and paid the bill, and I couldn't. I hadn't slept that good in months. Well, anyway, the warden's giving us a little bit of a fit over there. We got a lot of big projects we've been talking a lot about for a long time, and I don't know what the solution is. I don't, but
try to keep the ball moving, keep some feet to the fire, and
do
what we can.
That's what I keep asking you guys about, and I can imagine some of the conversations over there. Every time we go over to Divine's radio station, he's bugging us about this, so we better do it. Getting tired of him asking us questions all the time. Anyway, Nevin, I really want to thank you for coming on very short notice.
Not a problem.
And it's always a great pleasure to have you here, and your insights and your into our situation here at the city. And I look forward to seeing you very soon again, I hope.
Sounds good.
All right, this is AM 1400. KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
That AM 1400 KVFD.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. 3:31 and colder than hell, and gonna get colder. The news and Irish Rivers coming up.
Now, we've all heard this way too often.
Want a car? But you must act now, because these deals won't last long.
If you're like me, when it comes to making a big purchase like buying a car, you don't want someone yelling a lot and pressuring you into getting something you can't afford. So I did my research.
For your next used vehicle, do your research and then head to Humboldt Motor Sales. The atmosphere is relaxing and they'll help you find the pre-owned vehicle of your dreams. So when people ask where you got your ride, the answer is simple. Humboldt Motor Sales or online at HumboldtGM.com.
When you're diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer,
a million questions flood your mind.
How can this be happening?
Am I going to be able to work?
What's a subtype?
What do I do now?
We know.
We went through it too.
But once you start to understand your options,
you can partner with your doctor
and find ways to face MBC on your own terms.
Visit findyourmbcvoice.com and learn how to speak up and have a more informed conversation with your doctor.
Some questions have answers.
Visit findyourmbcvoice.com to find some of yours.
With your KVFD news update, I'm Rob Jones. The Fort Dodge Police Department is reporting traffic collisions and slick intersections due to hazardous roadway conditions from the winter weather today. Please exercise caution when driving in the area this afternoon and evening. A Webster City man who illegally possessed over 60 firearms has been sentenced to over 2 years in federal prison. 53-year-old Greg Claude received the prison term on Monday after pleading guilty in August to possession of firearms by a controlled substance abuser. At the plea hearing, Claude admitted that he was a daily user of methamphetamine and that in May 2018 he was in possession of multiple firearms. Evidence at the hearing also showed that after a burglary arson investigation, which involved the theft of over 150 firearms in Calhoun County, law enforcement was made aware of Claude's possession of several stolen firearms in May of 2018. A search of Claude's residence in May 2018 turned up drug paraphernalia and methamphetamine. Officers later seized almost 70 guns. High school basketball from last night. The South Central Calhoun Titans would have split against Humboldt. In the girls' game, the Titans would fall for the first time in the calendar year of 2020 by a count of 38-30. Humboldt would outscore South Central Calhoun 17-5 in the fourth quarter to take the win. Emma McKinney would lead the Titans with 10. In the boys' game, the Titans would come back after trailing 35-32 at the half to get the win 85-73. Zane Newbaum was the story for the Titans offensively and had this play to get momentum back for the Titans.
Ball stolen away. Here comes a new bomb. Zane, up and slammer home.
Brian Peters on the call of the Zane Newbaum dunk. Newbaum would have a season-high 40. 3 other Titans would score in double figures. The South Central Calhoun boys now have won 5 games in a row. The Fort Dodge Dodgers were swept in games you heard on 92 Rock at home. In the girls' game, Waukee would get off to a hot start and build a 10-point lead after the first quarter, but end up winning 70-26. 3 Waukee players in double figures. Torrey Bennett led the Dodgers with 8. The Dodger boys would fall to number 1 ranked Waukee by a score of 76-40. For Waukee, 2 Division I prospects led the way. Tucker DeVries had 16. Peyton Sanford had a game-high 19. For the Dodgers, Ty Kershaw had 12. The Dodgers got off to a slow start, found themselves trailing 24-7 after the first. Waukee would cruise from there. For KVFD from the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom, I'm Rob Jones.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD Weatherology forecast. A winter storm watch begins at 6 a.m. Friday morning and continues until 6 p.m. Saturday night. 25 this afternoon, under mainly cloudy skies, northwest winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 4 below tonight. 13 tomorrow, partly cloudy. 5 to 10 inches of snow tomorrow night through Friday night. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 19.
Here's looking how the markets closed on Wednesday. I'm Jesse Stewart reporting.
Final numbers on the day: soybeans, March down 13.5 at 9.28 3/4. May beans down 13.5 at 9.42. July beans down 13 at 9.54 1/4 on Wednesday. Bean meal for March down $1.90 a ton at 3 10 cents. March bean oil down 77 points at 33.30. March core down 1.5 at 387.5. May core down 2 at 394. July core down 1 3/4 at 4.5. March Chicago wheat 4 3/4 higher at 573 1/4. March Kansas City winter wheat down a half penny at 496 1/2. Feeder cattle January down 47 at 145.42. March down 55 at 145.17. Live cattle February down 25 at 126.60. April down 37 at 127.50. June live cattle down 30 at 119.42. February hogs up 20 at 67.87. April hogs down 2 at 74.97. May hogs up 37 at 81.47. I'm Jesse Stewart reporting.
January is National Oatmeal Month. Which is better for you, old-fashioned oatmeal or instant? Hi, I'm Julie Harker with Healthy Living on Brownfield. Cindy Harriman with the Whole Grains Council says both are made from the whole oat. In fact, you'd be hard-pressed to find any oats in the food supply that aren't made of the whole grain.
The difference with instant oats is two differences. First of all, they're chopped up finer, and that means that they will tend to make your blood sugar react more quickly. They have what's called a higher glycemic index. So they aren't as good for you from a blood sugar point of view. And on top of that, many instant oatmeals have a lot of added sugar and some added salt, so you aren't getting the same benefits as you are if you're just taking it straight up.
Harriman points out that regular oats only take 5 minutes to cook.
If you want them to cook quicker, here's Cynthia's tip of the day. Take your regular oats. If you need that 2-second, just throw boiling water on it, and you can't even cook them for 5 minutes. Throw them in a blender or food processor for a few minutes so you're breaking your regular oats up a little bit more. Then you can just throw the hot water on them while you take your shower, and they're ready to eat when you come down. So there's really no barriers to having a good hot bowl of oatmeal, especially this time of year.
Whole rolled oats are flattened and steamed. They're also called old-fashioned oats. For a chewier, nuttier texture, try steel-cut oats, also called Irish or Scottish oats. It's the whole oat kernel cut into smaller pieces. I'm Julie Harker.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
Have you ever wondered how the brain works? What makes us tick? Join me, Greg Woods, every Wednesday morning for all the latest news on the brain, on aging, and the science behind it all. It's The Mind Boggles, every Wednesday morning at 8:30 on AM 1400 KVFD.
What's the worst job you can think of? Cleaning septic tanks with a toothbrush? Spit polishing thermometers at the vet's office? Taste testing old milk?
Ugh, does this taste funny to you? If you think your job is about as bad as one of those, it's definitely time for a change. I'm Chris Ball, Director of Sales at Alpha Media. We have immediate openings in our sales department. Experience is great, but we'll train people with the right attitude. If you're looking for an awesome new career, call me at 955-5656 to schedule an interview today.
Alpha Media is an equal opportunity employer.
There's an app to save on flights, an app to rent a bike, and an app to help you save for driving safely. The Allstate app gives you real-time driving feedback with DriveWise, giving you the power to lower your insurance cost. In fact, safe drivers can save 40% or more. Connect and save with DriveWise. You're in good hands.
Download the Allstate app today. Savings may vary by state and driving behaviors. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Use of Allstate Mobile with activation of DriveWise required. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Equal opportunity is the cornerstone of the American dream. Being employed gives us the confidence to be financially independent. We feel useful and respected. But what if you were one of the 81% of adults with developmental differences who do not have a paid job? Join the SunTrust Foundation in supporting Autism Speaks, Best Buddies, and Special Olympics in creating pathways to 1 million employment and leadership opportunities for this talented community. Visit deliveringjobs.org to learn more.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Okay, this is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for Dodge. I'm Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth, of course. With me now is the Doctor of Fries, the undisputed Dr. Fries, Ira Shiver. How you doing, Ira?
I'm good. How are you? How are you?
All right. I'm real good. What's happening in your life?
Oh, not a lot. Still, maintaining at the diner and living life.
That's right.
Living
good
life.
Food over at Ira's place.
TC Mays, baby.
TC Mays, baby.
know it.
And a little southern slant to it, I guess. I didn't even know they had Thursday night was soul food night.
Mm-hmm.
And so, soul food, with the exception of a couple things that they have down south, and you mentioned them, collard greens. And, we're not real big about grits up here. But that's the type of food that working class and poor people always ate.
Always.
You mentioned pork chops and some of the other vegetable combinations and the stuff you grow in your garden.
Right.
I mean, white and black Southerners ate all that stuff.
They knew how to stretch a buck.
They did. They had to.
Mm-hmm.
They had to stretch it, and that was the anomaly of life in the South.
Very much so.
Is that the white people and the black people lived so much alike.
Yes, they did.
In the way they eat and the jobs that they had and the houses that they lived in.
Oh yeah. The poor white people back then really understood where the poor black people was coming from.
That's right.
They even went to the same churches.
A lot of times.
Same restaurants, same schools.
That's what I've always tried to talk to you about. Maybe I haven't made myself clear. But then we have a bunch of elite white liberals coming down here and lecturing us on how we should talk to each other.
Right.
We know how to talk with each other.
Sure do.
We live in the same neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Sometimes right next door to each other.
Yep.
I mean, and where do you live, by the way?
No.
Who are your friends? What do your friends look like?
Deer Creek.
Yeah. Deer Creek, yeah. That's always driven me crazy.
Oh, yeah.
We get some well-meaning white sociologist, and he comes down here, and, well, you must be a racist because you're a white guy and you work for a paycheck.
Right.
What kind of thinking is that? No, I'm a white guy who lives in the same vicinity as the black people that you're supposedly here to help. And by the way, when they look at you, they think you're nuts as well.
Yeah.
So,
watching him leave in his Jag.
Yeah, or his new car, and he goes back up to wherever he's from. And
yes, sir.
And I don't know. I just don't trust vegetarians.
No, me neither. And I could never take advice from somebody who's never even lived an inkling of the type of life that poor people have lived, for these years, because you might study the art, but if you didn't live it, it's two different things. Because if you live something and study it, it's just way different.
It's way different. Those folks do not know what it's like to not know where their next meal is coming from.
Not at all.
I do. I've lived there that way many times. I've had nobody in the world to depend on except me.
Right.
I didn't have any mommy or daddy or wealthy brother or sister to call up and say, send me $100.
No doubt.
If I was going to have some food and some shelter, I better figure out how to do it.
To get it on your own.
Then I got a family, and the same thing applied. That I better figure out a way to take care of them.
Right. Because it's all on you now.
That's right. That's
your
it
family.
That's called being a man.
Being a man.
And if you can't be a man, I ain't got no respect for you.
No, me neither.
And by the way, don't come down here with your fluffy hair and tell me how to be a man. Because I don't want to hear it.
I know that's right.
I do not want to hear it.
Come walk a mile in my shoes first.
Yeah. I will have to tell you, Ira, that I have lived in the South, in the radio business, and I was stationed in the South when I was in the military. And, of course, I came in contact with Southerners. I never did get a feel for grits. I never could eat that stuff.
Really?
I never could really get it in. No. I never could go with it. I never could. Hominy grits. Oh, here, have butter with that. You'll like it so much. I never liked it.
Oh, man, I get so many people. That's like one of the biggest sellers in our diner is grits.
Really?
Is grits.
A lot of people do like it. I
They
must
do.
have been, I never liked, what was that other thing that everybody liked except me? I can't remember what it is. It's a common food, but I could never handle it. It doesn't make any difference now. But I do remember grits.
Okay.
Grits and spinach, my God.
Yeah, spinach I don't do. Never. I could never. What's really crazy is how you mentioned collard greens. I can cook them, but I don't eat them.
Really? You don't like them?
I don't like them. I've tried it.
I'm fine with them. I'm fine.
Not me.
One thing I liked about eating in the South, you got cornbread with every meal.
Yes, you do.
You didn't get a dinner roll, you got the cornbread.
You got cornbread.
Man, that was all right,
And that's how it is with mine.
Yeah, I'd order cornbread with practically everything. Well, I'd have an extra order.
Okay.
And, I do have a muffin pan where I do blueberry muffins every now and then. Because it's simple to do,
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is.
But I've never done it with I don't know why I haven't done it with cornbread. But I got to do that because that's the best stuff in the whole world.
And it's crazy because, like I said, I don't eat greens, but I can cook them. And most people eat it with cornbread. Like they break up their cornbread. Like even my mother, she would try to teach me different ways to, make the greens taste different, like cutting up onions and mixing the cornbread and hot sauce, salt and pepper. But I just couldn't eat it. Mm-hmm. But I can cook it.
I don't, and I should have picked up on this when we were talking about black and white people living in the same neighborhood, having the same food because they were in the same economic category, poor.
Yes.
And I've had some very young, and this is kind of one of the reasons I asked you here today to talk with you about these things, because I've had some very young, very nice girls, educated girls, start to talk to me about my privilege, and their dads are dentists and lawyers.
Really?
And I said, and I keep trying to tell them, you know what you're talking about. You don't know who you're talking to. It's like every white person you see fits a category that you have.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, they came from your neighborhood, but they just don't think of privilege the way you do.
Right.
That's like looking at any other race of people, including, and I've tried to point this out to them. Do you look at black people and just see black people, or you just see a person there? I mean, are all black people alike to you? Are all Mexican people alike to you? Because I can tell you, I know black and Mexican people. They're not.
Right. No, they're not. Everybody's different.
Everybody's different. Everybody's got a different thing.
Yes, they do.
But I guess I wanted to talk to you about that because I don't mean to yell at them, and I was proud of myself for not yelling at them last time, but they get up my shirt, boy.
Now, were they black girls?
No.
Okay. I'm just trying to get a picture.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Maybe I should have made that clear. No, they're little white girls from, I should say they're young white girls, and they're from, solidly middle-class families. As I say, I knew one of them. Their dad was a lawyer, and I knew the house she grew up in. It was a very nice area of town, and she went on to try to be a social worker. Good for her, good for her. But I don't know what they teach them in those colleges down at University of Iowa, wherever it is. But all of a sudden, they're woke. And I know that's exactly what that expression on your face that you're making right now.
Yeah.
I said, you're what?
So they took a couple of classes in school.
And bang, they're liberal.
And
all of a sudden they know everything. And I know what, without knowing them personally, I know what their parents are like. They're probably your standard garden variety 1960s, 70s, 80s liberals, who saw no contradiction in them living in an all-white neighborhood and not talking to black people at all or having any even black acquaintances hardly.
Definitely.
But all of a sudden they know that I have a lot of privilege. Now, I'm not trying to imply, because I do know a lot of people, black people, that I'm not trying to imply anything about that at all. It doesn't mean anything.
Right.
And I guess the point I was trying to tell these girls that I got old enough to understand, and I hope they do, that everyone is different.
Yeah.
That everyone, you can't oh, hi, you're a white man of a certain age, so
Right.
you're this way, and we have the right to lecture you on your privilege.
Right.
Or
I get what you're saying.
Or your Irish Shivers are going
Mhm.
to walk up on Irish Shivers and say, we're in the struggle with you.
Right.
I say,
Like
really?
you really feeling my pain.
Yeah. Do you know what it's like to be a black person in Fort Dodge? Do you really know?
Yeah, I'm that whole, let's take some classes, and now I'm a specialist in this area.
And they want to quote
is bogus.
philosophers.
Yeah,
too.
all the time.
And
that's just bogus in itself. But if you never lived a day in poverty, you definitely don't understand how it works.
Well, they think the black people are exploited, and they think I'm lazy or untalented because I was poor.
Right.
Because if you're a white person, see, this is the stereotype. Is if you're a white person, you're automatically privileged, and you
Right.
should be making
$150,000.
And you, even if you do make $150,000 a year,
Right.
you're oppressed.
Right.
My God, Ira drives that big, nice truck. I don't think he's oppressed. I think he's got something going on over there.
Yeah, I mean, he wants something out of life, and
That's
he's going
right.
to go get it.
That's right. But
I'm going to do it.
That sort of attitude creeps up into what am I trying to say? Into older people, and they all of a sudden they're woke. And I knew where they lived. I knew where they went to college. I knew who put them through college. But all of a sudden, they understand that I'm over here and black people are over there.
Right.
And I'm trying to say that's not true.
Not at all.
Where I'm at, there is black people.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're at is over there.
Yeah, is over there.
You're way over there.
Way over there.
So don't talk to
way
me.
left.
And I'm bringing this up a little bit because there's always irony in life,
Mhm.
and it's easy for a white person to say that I enjoyed or I have a great admiration for Martin Luther King, but I really did. And I read a number of books about his thinking over the years.
Okay.
And he was a man he was a very brilliant man to start with. And he started off as a career in science.
Mhm.
And he said something I'll never forget. He got great grades, and his name was Mike King at the time. I don't know how he got to be Martin Luther now, but he started out in science, math and science, and he was getting great grades, and he was completely unhappy. And it occurred to him one day, because he still prayed, he was still a Christian man, and it occurred to him one day in prayer that the science and technology field didn't have any soul, didn't have any heart, and didn't have any heart and didn't have any soul. And I thought, wow, that's something to realize in your life.
That's deep.
That is deep. That is very deep. I'm not trying to put down anybody who likes math and science. And,
Right.
Please go with God, go with your career, and do great things. We
Mhm.
need you. We need you in the world. But Martin Luther King could have become a scientist.
Right.
Or something like that.
Or a mathematician.
And he stepped away and said, I have to pursue the ministry.
Yeah.
More importantly, I have to pursue the ministry in the black church and encourage them that we must do something about our circumstances. We must do something about racial
Mhm.
prejudice. And I thought, wow. He was like 24 years old when he thought all these
The
things.
man knew the path that he had to take.
That's right.
And what came along with it.
Yeah.
He knew. He knew.
Well, I really think, and I'm not trying to be too dramatic here, but I really think that Martin Luther King was touched by God
Oh,
in
yeah.
some way.
Oh,
That he
yeah,
was-
very much so.
That he got a tap on the shoulder, and God told him, whispered in his ear,
Yes, sir.
You're the one to do this.
Yes, sir.
You must take this path.
Yes, sir.
And one of the reasons I admire him so much is he suffered terribly
Yeah.
for his decision. He could have gone back and preached in that nice church
Mhm.
in Atlanta for
Mhm.
the rest of his life. He didn't.
Nope.
He wound up in jail, beat up,
Beaten.
all those things, life-threatened.
Yeah. Family threatened, wife, children.
And as a matter of fact, he was murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And I still can't believe that James Earl Ray, that little peckerwood, did that all by himself, Some uneducated guy from Missouri. He turned out to be kind of sneaky. He broke out of jail, and he was running around the country doing things. But I still can't believe that was all on his own.
Right.
Hi there, I'm going to go buy a high-powered rifle and get, and finance this whole trip. How was he financing the trip?
I ain't going to touch that one.
Yeah, well, these are just questions that I can't believe nobody asked at the time. Well, I'm sure that they did, but maybe they didn't want to know or something,
Nah, they knew. They just, yeah.
Yeah, because if you heard James Earl Ray talk, there was no doubt where he was from. He was from Missouri or someplace, or Arkansas.
It's somewhere in the backwoods.
Backwoods. He was a backwoods white dude, not very educated.
None.
And half the time you feel sorry for
him.
Yeah, there was something going on there.
Yes, it was.
But anyway, I since Martin Luther King's birthday is coming up, on Monday?
Yep.
I wanted to talk to you about it because he had such a profound effect on all our lives.
Yeah.
And he did it brilliantly, too. And he did it with heart and soul. Because he told white people in the United States that he literally, that we are fellow Christians. And you are not living up to your Christian faith.
Right.
And he said that enough times that people started to think. Said, that's right, we aren't, that didn't take on in the South for quite some time. South had a different way of looking at the Bible.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
But in a very short period of time, he changed a lot of things.
Yes.
He really did. He was a remarkable man. Did you ever think about him when you were growing up?
I thought about Martin a lot growing up. As a kid, being taught about him, but I think where my connection came in really deep with Martin Luther King is the fact that he was a minister, and my father was as well. And I've seen some of Mr. King's sermons, and there's resemblance in his and my father's sermons, and I think that's how I was able to connect and actually hear the message in the sermon, being that my father was a minister. So
sure, yeah. I always liked Aretha Franklin.
Oh yeah.
And I'm
Queen
reminded,
of Soul.
Yeah, the Queen of Soul. Well, I'm reminded that her father was a minister,
Mm-hmm.
the Reverend C.L. Franklin.
Yes.
In Detroit, and he had a powerful speaking voice. And he was a contemporary of Martin Luther King. He also, he wasn't assassinated. He was murdered in his own house by a couple of thugs that they never did catch, which is unfortunate. But I was just as I do history, and I do history and all sorts of things, like the economy in 17th century New England. I know that's boring, but I read it. But so many things, so many changes in our country, and new understandings came out of the black church.
Right.
Came out of the black church. Men like C.L. Franklin and Martin Luther King, and many, many others.
Many others.
But those things, again, all came out of church. And we don't do that anymore.
No.
I was thinking that if white people were challenged that they weren't living up to their Christian faith today by somebody around something, they'd say, so what?
Right. Which is true.
Yeah.
The church scene has really changed. There's two different types of preachers.
Mm-hmm.
You got the one that preach from the Bible, and you got the other one that preaches from a TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
And that
less money.
Yeah. Yeah. And I missed them sermons where the walls are shaking.
Oh yeah.
And the whole congregation is up shouting.
That does it for me.
Yes, sir. That's
if I
preaching.
see that guy with that miracle water on TV one more time, I'm going to go crazy. 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we're talking to Irish Servers. We'll be back after the news. KVFD 4W.
For exciting Panther sports, keep it right here on your home for University of Northern Iowa sports in North Central Iowa. The voice of Fort Dodge, KVFD, Fort Dodge.
A big step toward a Senate trial on Lisa Brady, Fox News. The House passing a resolution that allows impeachment to move on. Fox's Jared Halpern is live on Capitol Hill.
House Democrats have taken the final vote needed to advance articles of impeachment to the Senate, approving a resolution to transmit those articles and naming 7 impeachment managers.
The president is not above the law. He will be held accountable. He has been held accountable. He has been impeached. He's been impeached forever. They can never erase that.
Among the impeachment managers named by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to prosecute the case are 2 committee chairs who played pivotal roles in the impeachment inquiry, Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff and Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler. Lisa.
Jared, the White House calls the impeachment a sham and illegitimate, and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says this impeachment has been purely political. Democrats say he's part of a cover-up if he does not allow more witnesses and documents. President Trump calls it the biggest deal in the world. The Phase 1 trade deal with China signed at the White House today with a pledge to hold them to the agreement.
Total, full enforceability on all of this. So the agreement tears down major market barriers for U.S. food and agricultural exports. China will now welcome American beef and pork, poultry, seafood, rice, dairy.
In all, more than $200 billion in Chinese purchases over 2 years across multiple U.S. industries, along with reforms aimed at ending intellectual property theft. But tariffs remain in place until a Phase 2 is ready. A federal judge in Maryland is blocking the Trump administration from enforcing the order that allows state and local officials to reject the resettlement of refugees. Texas recently becoming the first state to announce that it would do that. America is listening to Fox News.
New year, new budgets. Every small business has unique needs. When you partner with a Dell Small Business Technology Advisor, you get real-time, tailored advice. They'll even give you a free audit on your servers and storage devices to develop a custom solution to help improve your company's productivity. Plus, right now, upgrade to Windows 10 and get up to 45% off select business computers with Intel Core processors. To speak with a Dell advisor, call 877-BY-DELL. That's 877-BY-DELL.
This is a last chance alert. It's happening. In just days, Publishers Clearinghouse will award $5,000 a week forever. Enter now at PCH.com and you could win $5,000 a week for your life. Plus, after that, $5,000 a week for life for someone you choose. The $5,000 a week forever prize is guaranteed to be awarded on February 28th. So don't miss your last chance to win. Enter at PCH.com before it's too late. That's PCH.com. Hurry, award day is almost here. Go to PCH.com now. Entries due 2/25. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited.
Decades-long fight to make equal rights for women a constitutional amendment finally reaches a tipping point with votes today in Virginia.
Votes to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment passed in both Virginia chambers, putting the state close to becoming the 38th nationally to approve the ERA. That would satisfy the long-sought two-thirds state support threshold imposed in 1972 when Congress sent the matter of adding the ERA to the Constitution to the states. The question is whether it's too late. Congress set a deadline of 1982 for reaching that approval. Some in Washington are working to remove that deadline. The matter is expected to spark lawsuits over whether there is still a path to a constitutional amendment. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
The estate of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein is being sued by the Virgin Islands, where Attorney General Denise George claims in the suit that Epstein used 2 private islands in the U.S. territory to traffic and abuse girls as young as age 13 for nearly 2 decades.
This is an enforcement action by the government of the Virgin Islands. It does not assert or displace claims by individual victims. Their claims are their own.
The lawsuit seeks to confiscate hundreds of millions of dollars from Epstein's estate and also accuses associates of continuing to conspire to hide wrongdoing after Epstein's suicide in jail last summer. An appeal to the nation from former NFL player Steve Gleason, who's being honored as an advocate in the fight against Lou Gehrig's disease, which he has.
If we can work to understand and solve each other's problems and each other's pain compassionately, then truly all things are possible.
This during a bipartisan event awarding him the Congressional Gold Medal. Another record day on Wall Street, the Dow closing above 29K. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
With your KVFD news update, I'm Rob Jones. The Fort Dodge Police Department is reporting traffic collisions and slick intersections due to hazardous roadway conditions from the winter weather today. Please exercise caution when driving in the area this afternoon and evening. A Webster City man who illegally possessed over 60 firearms has been sentenced to over 2 years in federal prison. 53-year-old Greg Claude received the prison term on Monday after pleading guilty in August to possession of firearms by a controlled substance abuser. At the plea hearing, Claude admitted that he was a daily user of methamphetamine and that in May 2018 he was in possession of multiple firearms. Evidence at the hearing also showed that after a burglary arson investigation, which involved the theft of over 150 firearms in Calhoun County, law enforcement was made aware of Claude's possession of several stolen firearms in May of 2018. A search of Claude's residence in May 2018 turned up drug paraphernalia and methamphetamine. Officers later seized almost 70 guns. High school basketball from last night. The South Central Calhoun Titans would have split against Humboldt. In the girls' game, the Titans would fall for the first time in the calendar year of 2020 by a count of 38-30. Humboldt would outscore South Central Calhoun 17-5 in the fourth quarter to take the win. Emma McKinney would lead the Titans with 10. In the boys' game, the Titans would come back after trailing 35-32 at the half to get the win 85-73. Zane Newbaum was the story for the Titans offensively and had this play to get momentum back for the Titans.
Ball stolen away. Here comes the new bomb. Zane, up and slammer home.
Brian Peters on the call of the Zane Newbaum dunk. Newbaum would have a season-high 40. 3 other Titans would score in double figures. The South Central Calhoun boys now have won 5 games in a row. The Fort Dodge Dodgers were swept in games you heard on 92 Rock at home. In the girls' game, Waukee would get off to a hot start and build a 10-point lead after the first quarter, but end up winning 70-26. 3 Waukee players in double figures. Torrey Bennett led the Dodgers with 8. The Dodger boys would fall to number 1 ranked Waukee by a score of 76-40. For Waukee, 2 Division I prospects led the way. Tucker DeVries had 16. Peyton Sampford had a game-high 19. For the Dodgers, Ty Kershaw had 12. The Dodgers got off to a slow start, found themselves trailing 24-7 after the first. Waukee would cruise from there. For KVFD from the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom, I'm Rob Jones.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. A winter storm watch begins at 6 a.m. Friday morning and continues until 6 p.m. Saturday night. 25 this afternoon, under mainly cloudy skies, northwest winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 4 below tonight. 13 tomorrow, partly cloudy. 5 to 10 inches of snow tomorrow night through Friday night. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 19.
Connect to this radio station from all across the country. Take us to the gym, shopping. How about a road trip? Listen to us now on the free iHeartRadio app. You'll never miss a moment with your favorite radio station. Download the free iHeartRadio app and search for this station so we can go wherever you want us to.
Equal opportunity is the cornerstone of the American dream. Being employed gives us the confidence to be financially independent. We feel useful and respected. But what if you were one of the 81% of adults with developmental differences who do not have a paid job? Join the SunTrust Foundation in supporting Autism Speaks, Best Buddies, and Special Olympics in creating pathways to 1 million employment and leadership opportunities for this talented community. Visit deliveringjobs.org to learn more.
Today, everything seems to be going organic. There's organic beef, organic vegetables. Now, even internet searches are somehow organic. At Alpha Media, we know marketing your business has never been more complicated. We have a team of people who not only know the difference between organic and paid, but know how to use them both to help you grow your business. Let's talk. Call Alpha Media Fort Dodge today and visit with one of our expert marketers who will help you develop a complete marketing plan. We can't wait to hear from you.
Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
That AM 1400 KVFD.
Well, I mentioned earlier that I didn't think I was going to get anybody from the courthouse over here today. turns out I was wrong.
As usual.
As usual. Yeah, Keith Dinklaw's here. I thought you were still laying out in some nude beach in Hawaii someplace.
No, I left that.
Oh, you left that?
I couldn't take it anymore.
You just couldn't take all that sun.
No, all that sun was hot.
And all that warm currents. So you came back just at the right time. It's supposed to be miserable the next few days. Also with us is Trent Lewis. Hi, Trent.
Hey, how we doing? Thanks for having me.
What is your job at the courthouse?
I'm actually with public health, and I'm the environmental health officer for the county.
Okay. How long have you been in town?
I'll be at agency for 3 years now.
3 years, okay. Are you a Fort Dodge guy?
No, originally from Pomeroy, but I live in Humboldt now.
You originally from Pomeroy?
Yep.
Okay. Byron's.
Yep.
In Pomeroy.
Byron's. You ever go up there, Keith, to Byron's?
No, but I got relation in Pomeroy.
Do you?
Did have. The Cordys.
Which, what was her name?
Cordy.
Cordy, okay. All right.
Well, I don't know how they're related, but they were related.
Okay. So I don't know whether to talk with you about your trip to Hawaii or to talk to Trim.
Or sanitation. That's the most important thing of all going on in the county. We got to keep the crappers.
He'd probably be mad if we ignored him.
Absolutely. That's okay with me. About than I got going on.
Okay, Trent, what's going on in Fort Dodge and Webster County?
Yeah, so it's actually perfect timing that I come on. Next week, I am partnering up with the University of Iowa, and we're going to do some well testing. It was brought to my attention a month ago that Fort Dodge Airport is one of 7 airports in the state that uses it's called poly and perfluoroalkyl substance, PFAS is what it is, what we call it short.
Right over my head there.
Yeah, it's so what it is, it's a compound that firefighting uses for when they do their trainings out in the airports. And the Fort Dodge Airport is like I said, one of 7 that uses this and is recommended by the FAA. And so since we were one of those choices, we needed to do some well testing to make sure that nothing's getting to our wells.
Right. So what do you suspect? I mean, what is usually found in wells that we don't want, like phosphorus or something? Or?
Phosphorus. What we do right now is we do testing for sulfate, nitrate, E. coli, coliform. And
E. coli, that's manure, right? That comes in manure?
Yep.
Is that in an animal feces or human?
Animal or human.
Okay. All right. Well, we don't want that in there.
No, we don't. Nope. No. And that's something that we recommend to do on a yearly basis to have it checked.
Yeah.
And we actually do it for free through our grants to counties.
Oh, we like that then.
Yep. So it's free to property owners, and it's easy to do, and they get the results of it so they can keep track of it.
You inspect all the septic systems too, don't you?
They
put them in?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
You have a great job going on.
Yes.
Checking for all this stuff.
And if you're tearing down an acreage, you really need to make sure that you call. If you're closing a well, he needs to be there to make sure it's closed properly.
Well, that's right. Because also you can get funded money back too in regards to we will.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
We can pay the homeowners to plug their wells.
Right.
Up to $500.
Oh, okay. Well, heck, I'd make the call. Well, that is a good thing to remember, I guess.
Yes, and not a lot of homeowners know that.
Yes, yeah. It needs to be done. They just can't bury them and close them up. They have to be plugged with what is it, bentonite or whatever they
bentonite, yep.
They dump a bunch of bentonite.
Bentonite.
Yep.
What is that?
It's a form of rock salt type stuff that you dump into the wells, and it forms up and it breaks down the well itself.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, do we get a lot of those? I mean, is there a lot? Do you do a lot of that sort of work, or?
Yeah, we have contractors that do that. Either to approve the formation of it and making sure that the homeowners do get paid with the paperwork on the process.
Okay.
And roughly in a quarter, for every 3 months, we probably get between 2 or 3 well plugins.
Now, are these tests that you're talking about, the well testing, are those mandatory? I mean,
they're not mandatory, but we also recommend it just so we can keep track and knowing what is out there.
And they're free,
for
of
the
course.
people living, drinking the water. I mean, that's the most important thing. If you got a baby out there and your family farm or something that's drinking water, you don't know what's in that well.
Exactly.
You don't. It's and you do it. I mean, it's great.
And it is. With this new testing that we're going to be doing, it's first come, first serve. I've sent out letters to the homeowners that are over northwest of the airport, just as that's how we've suspected a 2-mile radius in regards to where the potential hazards could be. And I got 6 homeowners that have called me and set up appointments for next week, and so we can come out there and do that testing.
How long does it take to do it?
It will take about 14 days.
Okay.
It's going to be nice, too, because working with the University of Iowa. They're actually going to come to Fort Dodge and go out with me.
Oh, U of I does this.
Yep, they'll do it with them, and then they will take the samples back just because it's time sensitive.
I just thought it would be Iowa State for some reason.
Nope.
Had to do with the farm in my mind. Iowa State comes out, huh? Where'd you go to school for this?
Well, actually, I went to school at Buena Vista University
Okay.
and majored in human services and minored in psychology.
So you're really doing something
Yep,
different.
and I do some other stuff at the health department as well. That's different too.
So you go to someone's well and test it.
Yep.
And you find things that are dangerous. What's
Yes.
the next step?
The next step is wait for the results from the lab, and once I review those results, I will contact the homeowners right away and let them know what's going on and what are the next steps to treating the well if the total chloroform is high or E. coli. And what we do is either shock the well and retest.
Shock the well?
Yep.
Put a bunch of chlorine down it.
Chlorine, bleach.
Well, then the people can't drink it.
They could drink it, but then within 48 hours, I like to retest again. So then we get the results quicker after that.
Right. Yeah, that would be. That is safe then?
Yep.
And people can take baths and showers and.
Yeah, it's much safer to shower instead of drinking it.
Yeah.
It was recommended if there is high levels in total chloroform or E. coli to either boil the water for 1 minute, get drinking water or get other drinking water from a different source, or get bottled water until the meantime.
Well, I hear of E. coli breaks every now and then, breaks out in the country somewhere. There's deaths from
Yep.
E. coli.
Well, and what happens with E. coli too is that with individuals, with infants and older adults, is that they get dehydrated quickly, and then once that dehydration sets in, then it's.
Is that why Keith's drinking all the time? You're getting dehydrated over there.
A lot of problem with that the last couple of weeks. So we get a lot of questions about when you sell your acreage, the septic system has to be dug up, has to be looked at. And the only way it doesn't have to be dug up if you sell it to a blood relative. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay.
That's interesting. Why would that be? Why would that be in there? I wonder. If you sell it to a blood relative.
Just because with the time of transfer, since it's within a family member.
The time of transfer.
Yeah, that's what it's called. Is the time of transfer inspection. And in regards to a family member, that's the only clause that the state put in there. That since it is a blood relative, they have the option to do it or not.
Okay. Usually, if you're not selling it to a blood relative, it's $10,000-$15,000 for a new septic system.
Yeah, it all depends.
That much?
Absolutely.
And it depends. Yeah, it depends on the size and what we need to do to it.
I suppose.
Depends on how many bedrooms you have in it.
Yep.
I was thinking 5,000, but that was probably about 19.
No, that's probably that. Yeah.
That's, well, and I'm thinking 1970s, which is where my mind usually is.
So sometimes you run into a big expense. You'll have an old septic system on the property, and you sell the property, and then they get the septic system dug up. Oh, you have to replace it, and $15,000. Well, yeah, you got 4 bedrooms. And that's what it's going to take.
Yeah, it's a bigger tank with a 4-bedroom. You have to do a 1,500-gallon tank.
4-bedroom?
Yep.
What
So we go by how many bedrooms are in the household and determine how big of the tank needs to be and how much leach field needs to be. And so 4-bedroom is a 1,500-gallon tank with 400 feet of leach field.
Really?
Yep.
Explain leach field to people who don't know.
So leach field is a laterals, and is where after the feces go through the tank, and then it gets dispersed in through the laterals and sprays out, and so it just continually flows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gets rid of the water.
Yeah.
Mostly the water goes out through the leach field and just goes out through the rock and dissipates into the ground.
Dissipates into the ground, yeah. That's interesting. I don't spend a lot of my time thinking about septic tanks, obviously.
And we put a lot in every year.
Yeah, and every acreage has one.
Yep.
Every acreage has a septic tank. Yeah, they're
and
not hooked up to city water.
And years ago, they used to be hooked up to the county tile.
Yeah.
Or a private tile, and went right into the dredge ditch. I mean,
Yep.
that's every septic system in the 40s, 50s, whatever they got put in. Was hooked to a main.
And
it was just a private tile, and it went down the dredge ditch and into the water.
And everything has to be updated. And if it's anything over 20 years old, it's automatically fail.
Automatic fix.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah, 20 years is probably about enough.
Yeah.
For a septic system. But so I want to get back to what happens when you find something that's wrong out there. Because I'm just amazed that you can pour a bunch of bleach and chlorine down the doggone well and still have people use it.
You know, it all depends on with how big the well is and how much bleach or how much chlorine tablets you put in there. I work with families to determine, you know, it's all mathematical on how big the well is and how many gallons you need to put in. I mean, it's a lot of effort into that and making sure that you don't put way too much in, because if you put way too much in, then you're going to smell chlorine for 3 weeks. I've had that happen for a contractor, done that to a homeowner, and
it wasn't good. Huh?
No.
You're not going to drink the first water coming out of it. You're going to leave it run on the ground for a while, aren't you?
Right. Yep.
Yeah, you're going to dump a couple thousand gallons out on the ground, or a couple hundred gallons out on the ground.
Yeah, and what I always recommend to homeowners to, once that's done, is, you know, on a daily basis for first 48 hours, to run it for about an hour to 2 hours to drain it, and then it'll resurface back up, and then the next day do the same thing, just because it helps get that flowing.
Yeah. Wow. You know all about this because you've been out on the farm.
I've been out on the farm, yeah.
What did you have when you were on the farm?
An outhouse.
An outhouse? Well, that used to be the deal.
We actually did. I moved
I believe you.
to Badger in 1964, and we didn't have inside plumbing. I had an outhouse.
Oh, we
had an outhouse, and we had running water. You had to run out to the well and get it and run it back to the house.
That was common back then. You know,
in 1964. I mean, that's a long time ago, but.
Well, I remember when, I went over to my aunt's house, and she had an outhouse. My mom's twin sister, she had an outhouse, and we didn't think anything of it. Yeah. And she had a sink with a pump handle in the.
We didn't even have that.
You didn't even have that.
We had to go down to the well and the well was located right by the hog barn.
No,
right by the cattle lot in the hog barn. That's where it was located. So the well pumped right into the cattle tank and into the hog tank. And we got our drinking water right out of that well, and it was right,
I wonder if that passed one of Trent's tests over
there. That's probably what
No, it wouldn't. That's with state regulations that we have to look out for, too, making sure that we work with the well contractors and make sure it's a certain amount of feet away from any hog confinements, septic tanks.
Well, the world has changed, as Keith and I talk about a lot, in that we have all these animal concentrations, big hog lots, you know. I keep trying to get Sexton in here so he and Keith can wrestle, but it ain't happening.
Well, we used to say, it's hard to put a house on 2 acres because you got to have the well so far away from your leach fields that you can't do it. It's tough.
Is that right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Because you got to have so many feet between the well and the leach fields, so it's hard on 2 acres. It's hard to locate those in the time you get the house on it and everything. It's tough to put the well and that stuff there.
So you come up on a place, and not too far down the road's 5,000 hogs. Does that make a difference as to where your well might be, or?
It has to be at least 100 feet away from the well. As long as you look at the process on where the water flows.
Yeah.
And then how that hog confinement is looking at too.
Has there been any problems with all these hog confinements? And finding E. coli or whatever in wells? In our area, anyway?
Yeah, there's been some incidences where we've had some issues with that, but then we've got it corrected.
From spreading, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
From spreading them when they're too close to the wells. Yeah.
From
not from the building, but
not from the building itself, but
from doing what? Doing it how there, Keith?
From spreading it on the ground in the spring.
Spreading it on the ground.
Yeah.
All right.
That's probably where that came
from. And that's where a lot of runoff goes.
Yeah.
You know, I used to work. I used to have my own semi, and I'd hook onto a side dump trailer, and we'd haul manure from the chicken barns up in Vincent out to the fields. The farmers would buy it and want that manure out there, but we had to stay so far away from any creeks in the area. Do you have regulations on that, or are there regulations on that, or?
Yep.
Are these state regulations?
Yes.
Okay.
Pretty stringent regulations.
Yeah.
You can't be close to a well, close to a creek. You can't, spray over top of a culvert. I mean, they're pretty strict.
Well, we wouldn't even know. Well, we knew where the creeks were. Well, one time we did get in trouble because of a well. We got in a whole bunch of trouble. They had to bring out a big end loader and take care of that the best they could. But yeah, it was. I remember that day. Yeah, we got in. I don't know, we dumped how many 60, 80 tons out there. It was kind of a mess. But anyway, so do you do anything else in your job over there?
Yeah, I also work with substance abuse items.
What abuse?
Substance abuse.
Really?
Yep.
You test wells and you treat people with substance abuse problems?
And that was my background.
You are versatile.
Yeah, mental health and stuff was my background prior to coming back to the county.
Well, what do you do with people? We have a couple treatment centers here,
Yep.
don't we?
And we work with them in prevention and getting the word out there, and with the Iowa Opioid Task Force, North Central Task Force.
Yeah.
I am part of that group as well.
Okay.
And so we're public health agencies. We know what we need to do to help prevent those type of, with the opioid epidemic that's coming up, or that is in process going, and also with vaping too. I mean,
Vaping is a big deal?
It's a very big deal, especially with the kids.
How did I survive all those years of hanging out in taverns smoking Lucky Strike cigarettes? I wonder.
Have you looked in the mirror lately? That's how we did. We built up a heck of an immune system.
We certainly did. Everybody else was smoking, too.
Yeah.
You can go in those old pool halls and cut the doggone air with a knife.
We had a good immune system built up. Played in the dirt, ate dirt.
Oh, gosh.
Our immune system is good.
Well, Trent Lewis is here, and
nobody wants to talk about manure on the phone, though, do they? They don't look like
No, well.
septic systems and water.
See, that's another thing. Manure should be part of our lives here in Iowa.
I know, it is
weird
real
as it sounds.
To make sure if you're tearing down an old building site, if there's a well there, to get a hold of Trent and have him come out and make sure you plug it properly, and they'll help you do it with money. I mean, they get grants for that. So.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, not only it has to be done, but they got money to help you do it. So.
Gosh, I learned something today, and that's a good thing. Thank you, Trent.
Yes, no problem.
Keith, thank you very much.
Well, we're here.
All right. This is AM 1400 KVFD.
Top beauty editors are obsessed with the luxurious feel of Merle Norman's award-winning Plush lipstick. This indulgent formula with moisture-locking hyaluronic acid, lip-nourishing vitamin F, and shea butter is available in 24 head-turning shades. Our Plush lipstick provides hours of long-wearing comfort so your lips stay soft and supple. Stop by your local Merle Norman Cosmetics studio today for a complimentary lipstick makeover and create instant lip envy. Merle Norman, located inside Mary Kay's Gifts and Home Decor, downtown Fort Dodge.
A crop that went beyond expectations. Hello, I'm Megan Grebner, and this is Managing for Profit on Brownfield, a content partnership with the Roundup Ready Extended Crop System. Looking back at his 2019 soybean harvest numbers, Southern Illinois farmer Fred Helms says he was impressed.
We ended up with soybean yields that were above and beyond my highest level of expectation.
We'll find out more on Brownfield right after this.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the drug facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the drug facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/drug facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've messed up your daughter's haircut. Do you A, get spiritual?
Mom, where's the mirror?
Beauty is within. Oh.
B, find the positives?
Less time blow drying, more time texting?
Or C, show empathy?
Mom, you really don't have to.
Twinsies.
I kinda love it. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Delayed planting and constant battles with Mother Nature left many farmers uncertain how yields would end up for 2019. Southern Illinois farmer Fred Helms said he needed a crop with flexibility from the beginning, as weather added twists and turns to the planting season.
We ended up spraying some of the burn down, and that not too far ahead of planting, being able to use a system where we could come in and plant right behind some of those burn down products without any worry about injury to the seedling and emergence was a big relief. But also, as we got into the month of June and we're planting, because of the wet year, had a lot of ability with Mother Nature to dilute some of the residual herbicides that were put down early, so that coming in with a strong post-emergence program about 3 weeks after planting was incredibly important to maintaining clean fields.
He tells Brownfield when harvest rolled around, he could not have been happier when evaluating the crop's performance.
We ended up with soybean yields that were above and beyond my highest level of expectation given the planting date and the conditions. We know late April to mid-May soybeans have the most opportunity for the highest yield, and here we were planting all of our soybeans during the first 3 weeks of June. So we knew that we were likely to be reduced, but we just didn't know how much. And when we were there harvesting, we were surprised in that our soybean yields this year were actually our second best ever, and that we did not have the degree of yield penalty from delayed planting. Apparently everything else in the system, but also the genetics, which have improved dramatically with the newer varieties the last 3 or 4 years that have been added into the lineup, were able to power through the adversity of the year and give us the top yields that we received.
I'm Megan Grebner with Managing for Profit on Brownfield, a content partnership with a Roundup Ready Extend crop system.
Real travel is life-changing. With Trafalgar, you'll discover the best way to travel and connect with the culture, people, and places you visit. You'll travel with the freedom to discover and the confidence to explore. With over 300 trips on all 7 continents, you get real experiences that you won't find elsewhere. These are just a few of the greatest travel stories you'll ever tell. Save up to 7.5% on trips. Terms and conditions apply. Visit your travel agent or Trafalgar.com. Trafalgar, simply the best.
With your KVFD news update, I'm Rob Jones. The Fort Dodge Police Department is reporting traffic collisions and slick intersections due to hazardous roadway conditions from the winter weather today. Please exercise caution when driving in the area this afternoon and evening. A Webster City man who illegally possessed over 60 firearms has been sentenced to over 2 years in federal prison. 53-year-old Greg Claude received the prison term on Monday after pleading guilty in August to possession of firearms by a controlled substance abuser. At the plea hearing, Claude admitted that he was a daily user of methamphetamine and that in May 2018 he was in possession of multiple firearms. Evidence at the hearing also showed that after a burglary arson investigation, which involved the theft of over 150 firearms in Calhoun County, law enforcement was made aware of Claude's possession of several stolen firearms in May of 2018. A search of Claude's residence in May 2018 turned up drug paraphernalia and methamphetamine. Officers later seized almost 70 guns. High school basketball from last night. The South Central Calhoun Titans would have split against Humboldt. In the girls' game, the Titans would fall for the first time in the calendar year of 2020 by a count of 38-30. Humboldt would outscore South Central Calhoun 17-5 in the fourth quarter to take the win. Emma McKinney would lead the Titans with 10. In the boys' game, the Titans would come back after trailing 35-32 at the half to get the win 85-73. Zane Newbaum was the story for the Titans offensively and had this play to get momentum back for the Titans.
Ball stolen away. Here comes the new bomb. Zane, up and slam her home.
Brian Peters on the call of the Zane Newbaum dunk. Newbaum would have a season-high 40. 3 other Titans would score in double figures. The South Central Calhoun boys now have won 5 games in a row. The Fort Dodge Dodgers were swept in games you heard on 92 Rock at home. In the girls' game, Waukee would get off to a hot start and build a 10-point lead after the first quarter, but end up winning 70-26. 3 Waukee players in double figures. Torrey Bennett led the Dodgers with 8. The Dodger boys would fall to number 1 ranked Waukee by a score of 76-40. For Waukee, 2 Division I prospects led the way. Tucker DeVries had 16. Peyton Sampford had a game-high 19. For the Dodgers, Ty Kershaw had 12. The Dodgers got off to a slow start, found themselves trailing 24-7 after the first. Waukee would cruise from there. For KVFD from the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom, I'm Rob Jones.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for Dodge. I'm Michael Devine. First of all, in the weather, going to be miserable overnight. 6 degrees below zero average temperature, but there'll be a wind chill factor temperature of 20 to 30 below, so be careful out there. The wind's going to gust overnight between 25 and 30 degrees. 25 and 30 miles per hour, so be aware of that. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 11. Our wind chill factor through the day will be 15 degrees below zero. Overnight Thursday into Friday, it'll be real cold once again. Wind chill factor temperatures 5 to 10 degrees below zero. Gusting winds to 20 miles per hour. On Friday, snow and freezing rain. Friday's going to be the real bad day. Patchy blowing snow, high of 30, but a lot of wind and a lot of snow, maybe 7 inches of snow Friday into Saturday. On Saturday, there's going to be a chance of snow, of course, in the morning with a high of 23. Sunday, mostly sunny and cold with a high of 5. Monday, Martin Luther King's birthday, it'll be sunny and cold with a high of 6. And Tuesday, mostly sunny with a high of 16. I think our warm weather, winter weather anyway, is behind us. Right now in Fort Dodge, it's 17 degrees and a little light snow in the area. Obituaries this hour brought to you by the historic Bruce Funeral Home at 923 First Avenue South, Fort Dodge. You may contact the historic Bruce Funeral Home by calling 515-576-5117 or online at www.brucesfuneralhome.com. Mr. Dale Rickey has passed away. Dale H. Rickey, 81 years old, died Monday at the Paula J. Baber Hospice Home here in town. There will be a memorial visitation, and that'll be from 5 to 7 on Friday here in town. That's for Dale H. Rickey, and the family has asked that any memorials be sent to the Good Shepherd Lutheran Church here in Fort Dodge. Obituaries this hour brought to you by the historic Bruce Funeral Home at 923 First Avenue South, Fort Dodge. You may contact the historic Bruce Funeral Home by calling 515-576-5117 or online at www.brucesfuneralhome.com. It's 4:36 and 17 degrees. We're going to talk with Ed Birnbaum and I almost said Nancy Grannon for some reason. It's Carol, for crying out loud. We're going to talk with Carol and Ed in just a minute. This is AM 1400 KVFD.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The major averages ending higher with record closes for the Dow and S&P 500, and the Dow making history today and closing above the 29,000 mark for the first time ever following the signing of an initial trade pact between the U.S. and China. President Trump's economic advisor Larry Kudlow tells Fox Business the president believes the hard part is now over.
POTUS believes it's phase one that's the tough one, and he feels that phase two will come much more easily because we climbed the mountain for phase one. This has never been done before, ever. It is a historical moment.
The Dow rising 91 points, the Nasdaq up 7, S&P 500 up 6. Among the gainers today, tech and healthcare companies, while energy and financials lagged. Shares of Bank of America closing down around 2% after the firm got hit by lower interest rates in the fourth quarter. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Enter the Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl Squares sweepstakes. We're giving away $50,000 every score change, touchdowns, field goals, even extra points. 50 G's. Plus, 2 grand prize winners will win $500,000 that could be used toward their dream home. Enter for free at RocketMortgageSquares.com. Rocket Mortgage, official mortgage sponsor of Super Bowl 54.
No purchase necessary. 18 years or older, except Alabama, Nebraska, and Mississippi. Ends January 30th. Licensed all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. The NFL is not sponsored promotion in any way.
Mom, Dad, I'm getting married. That's wonderful, dear.
Congratulations. So have you decided on a date?
Yes, this Saturday.
What? Are you serious? We need to plan. There's so much to do.
What about the church? The flowers, music, food, inviting everyone?
You would not want to be faced with those hurried decisions then. Why do that to your family with your own final arrangements? I invite you to sit down with us at Gunderson's to pre-plan your funeral. Pre-planning allows you to make thoughtful decisions with a clear mind. Give us a call at Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services, Fort Dodge.
Get to B-Dubs on Thursdays for buy one, get one free boneless wings. Or as we like to say, 100% more wings. That's right. When you buy boneless wings on Thursdays, you get the same amount of wings for $0.00. Basically, the second order is 100% off. So get here for buy one, get one free boneless wings on Boneless Thursdays. Buffalo Wild Wings. Roar! Buy one, get one of equal value free. Dine in at participating locations. Takeout is limited and may vary by location. Size exclusions may apply while supplies last. Limit one offer per customer. Not valid with any other coupon.
Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
At AM 1400 KVFD.
All right, this is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. I'm Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth. That's right. And the truth is, we're going to be talking with Carol Grannon, who's Senior Director of Development out at Unity Point Health. And we're also talking with Ed Birnbaum, former wrestling coach out at Fort Dodge Senior High. Retired now for many years, Ed, I guess, and you're happy about that? Is that the situation?
Absolutely. Yeah, it works.
Weren't you part of the last before we had some state titles here? Really, we had a long drought. You were on the team in 1980, weren't you?
Correct.
And we won the state championship that year.
That's right.
How long was the interval before the next one? It was quite a drought.
It was 15 years because Don Miller's last year, he won it Fort Dodge won it in 1985 as well.
Now, 85 or 95 now?
85.
85.
And then that's when I came back and became an assistant in 85 also.
Who was the head coach after Miller?
Hans Getch was.
Oh, I remember
for
Hans,
4
yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And then I took over in 1989, 90.
Yeah, okay. I have a grandson that wrestles. He's 8 years old. And doggone it, if my boy and his wife didn't find a girls' wrestling room for my 6-year-old granddaughter. So the world keeps changing. The world keeps changing. I didn't realize that girls were going to start wrestling, but by golly, they're in there. And I saw a piece in the paper. There's 17 girls up at Humboldt out for wrestling.
Yes.
Man, the world has changed. And that's probably a good thing. I think Dan Gable said that if wrestling's going to continue, we got to have girls in it. So. Well, right. That's fine with me.
Equal opportunity.
Equal opportunity is right. We're here to talk about the 28th Annual Trinity Hospice Ball. First of all, I'm going over to you, Ed. How did you get involved here?
Well, I think actually there were some chairs that were going to chair the event this year, and unfortunately I think something happened and they were unable to fulfill that commitment. And Carol called up John Nielsen and asked if John Nielsen and his wife Christy would be co-chairs along with myself and my wife Susie. And so we had a quick discussion and decided that this would be a pretty good opportunity for us to be a part of the ball.
You had a son that was in the same class my son was. Tommy, was that you or was that your nephew?
That's my nephew.
Nephew. I'm sorry. Where is he? Is he living in town? Or?
No, he's in the Netherlands. He's in the Air Force now.
Oh.
So I think this is about his 11th year, maybe.
Oh, he's making a career of it then.
He is.
Well, there's worse things to do. Sorry, I keep breaking in with wrestling
okay.
here, Nancy.
That's okay. I wouldn't expect any more. Any different.
No, we got to stay on. I got to stay on target here. We can always talk wrestling.
Ed can stay all night. It's okay. We drove separately.
No. This will be all right. Our guests, once again, are Carol Grannon and Ed Birnbaum. We're talking about the 28th Annual Hospice Ball. And when is it, Carol?
It is Saturday, February 1st.
Okay.
The ball is always the first Saturday in February.
Didn't know that.
So easy to mark your calendar. And it's at the Starlight Village. And we'll start at 6 p.m. with social hour, and then we'll have a dinner and program at 7, followed by a dance. And silent auction throughout the night, and a raffle, so it'll be a lot of fun for everyone.
We're going to have a dance as far as, what are we having, a DJ? Or
DJ.
Aerosmith going to show up?
No,
or what?
I wish, but it'll
That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't that be awesome? No, we're going to have a DJ. Dean Vinchattel is going to be our DJ. I think he has been the DJ for all 28 balls.
That's good.
So it's a little bit of a tradition for us. So
Sure.
Dean will be there with us again this year.
Well, good. And when's the music start there?
Well, the music will start about 8:30
Okay.
when once dinner and the program is over, usually
Okay.
around 8:30.
Starlight does a pretty good job on that dinner when they're cooking for, I've been out there when they had to cook for over 400 people, and they still pulled it off somehow. The food came out hot,
Yep. We have about 400 people a year.
You have that much?
We do. We have
All right.
a packed house every year.
No kidding.
And Starlight puts on a nice spread for us. They do a good job. They're very accommodating.
Well, as we just mentioned here a moment ago, the co-chairs this year are Ed Birnbaum and his wife Susie, and Christy and John Nielsen. Individual tickets, $50. Now, if you want to be a corporate sponsor, and I'm trusting that we have some of those.
We do.
And that's $1,200. If you want to reserve a table for 8, it's $650, and $350 for 4. So there you go. Do you want to name some of the corporate sponsors or not?
I don't think we're ready to name corporate sponsors at this time, but
All
we
right.
do have, we're just in the process of securing those and getting their commitments. But we do have several businesses. Unity Point Health and Unity Point Clinic are two sponsors, corporate sponsors that we have. And beyond that, some of our sponsors in the past, I know Conrad and Lemenis Law Firm is a corporate sponsor this year. Nevin Conrad, I think, was a guest of yours
Nevin.
early.
Oh, sure.
So
Yeah, he was
Nevin,
just here.
Yes, Nevin and his law firm is a corporate sponsor this year.
Good for them.
They have been in the past.
Nevin's a good man.
Yes, we've had corporate sponsors. Chemna Auto has been a good corporate sponsor in the past, as has Great Western Bank, Northwest Bank. So we have some good corporate sponsors.
Is Fort Dodge Ford occasionally a part of this or not?
Fort Dodge Ford is a part of this. Shimcat Auto. All of our automobile dealers in town are great supporters of this event.
Yeah.
And we get some good auction items from them as well. So we're pleased with that. We just really have a lot of good community support for this event as a whole.
Well, I hope so. As you know, I've had experience
Yes.
with hospice, and that's a very, very difficult time in anyone's life when you have someone in your family, a loved one, dying, and it takes quite a while to do sometimes. But I can't say enough about the people at hospice here in Fort Dodge. They were just wonderful, and they made it a lot easier for us. It was a very, 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 I hope never to go through that again. But it was a very difficult time, very, very difficult situation. Sister Jane was still there then, and
Yes.
she's just terrific.
Yes.
And I'm sure I'm sorry, is Sister Jane still living? It's been quite a while.
You know,
ago.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know she retired, I know, and moved
Yes,
away.
yes.
Quite a long time. But she was wonderful.
She was fantastic. I think she probably really gave our hospice program a boost. But we are told all the time that we have one of the best hospice programs in the state, and we're very proud of that. And I just heard someone say today, and it really made sense to me. They said, intellectually, we knew that we were going to lose our loved one, but as much as you know that, wrapping your heart around that and knowing everything that you need to do is just really hard.
Not the way it works.
And it's not the way it works. And so hospice is there to help you through that and to walk that journey beside you. And they really provide a needed and necessary service. I've said for a long time, as a community, we are a better community because we have a strong hospice program.
Oh, I believe that 100%.
And because we have the Paula J. Baber Hospice Home, that if you can't do it in your home, you can do it at the Paula J. Baber Hospice Home.
Oh, yeah.
So between the two, we can take care of you and we can help you through it.
Actually, the problems start, or I should say the emotional swings you go through, happen after your loved one has passed away. I had a fellow who lost his wife come and tell me, he said, you're going to have a tough time for the next year or so. Every time there's an anniversary, every time there's a birthday, every time a favorite song comes up or a memory. And boy, he was right, and I'm so glad I had Sister Jane to reinforce that message to me, and it was nice for me to know that, I don't know, I had the feeling that I was the only one in the world who had this kind of pain or problem before. And I got out in Sister Jane's group, and there were people that, had lost a couple of people. There was one lady who'd lost two sons in the same accident. It was tough to listen to, I'll tell you. But it was a good experience, and it allowed me to recover over time. There's a lot of. I remember Sister Jane said, the first thing I want to get through your heads is there's no such thing as closure. You're always going to miss your loved one. It's how you remember them and how you perceive of that person's death, and that's a lot what we talked about. I don't know who you have handling a program like that now. But she was wonderful. Yeah, we have a team of social workers and grief counselors that work with folks after the fact. So they work with people, during the process, but then they're also there, after their loved one has passed. So we don't just, okay, the event is over and you're on your own. We stay with you and we do grief counseling classes, and that's so important. It really is. It's very important. We have a lot of books on the topic that people can check out.
and read. And we actually have a Gary Schnook, who is our hospice pastoral care person, and he works with folks and does a lot of work with them, and as well as our social workers. And so we have a whole team of people providing aftercare, and that's very important.
Well, for men my age, and maybe still for all the men today, I don't know, we had a tendency to get in our head that we're going to be stoic and have to take it like a man and all these things. I'll tell you, that stoic stuff and keeping it all inside damn near gave me a heart attack. I went out to old Eddie, my doctor at the time, Fast Eddie, and he took my blood pressure, and he said, Mike, you're going to have to do something. He said, your blood pressure, the top of your head's going to blow off. And had his urging and the urging of other people. I went, after a time, and it was, I don't know how long it was, but one day I woke up, and I was very happy that, in my wife, in this case, I was very happy for the time we had together, and I didn't feel it was unfair or terrible or something that she was gone. I was just glad for that time that we had together. And that's a huge thing when you wake up one day with that attitude, because and I don't know if I'd have done it without hospice, frankly.
Right.
And I don't know how much money that's worth to anybody, but it's worth a hell of a lot, I'll tell you.
Right. And a lot of the money that we raise from this event is used to provide our volunteer services and our grief counseling and just those extras that we provide.
Yeah, it's an important thing to have in our town. And again, I'm very, very glad that we have hospice. It's something you don't think about. It really isn't until you need it,
right?
Or it's offered, and then you're doggone glad it's there.
Right.
I'll tell you.
Right.
Because those people are thinking, heck, when people are in grief like that, they're really not thinking straight. You know? So it's good to have understanding people who are thinking straight
right.
to kind of help you along a little
Walk
bit.
that journey with you,
Yeah,
yes.
that's right.
Yes.
You ever had to use hospice over there, Ed?
You know, I haven't. I've not had a close loved one that has used hospice.
It's not something you want to do either.
Exactly. But I think I can see the difference if you guys are talking back and forth. My mom passed away when I was in high school, 17 years old.
Oh, no.
And so you go through those processes, and I think back then, I think you're right, Mike, is I was not a young man yet, probably just an old boy, and and you try to navigate through those by yourself, and that's not an easy thing to do.
No.
I think that I had a close friend that her son wrestled with me, gave me a book, and as I read that book, it's like, oh my goodness, these folks have it down to a science, because this is exactly what's taking place in my mind and in my life at that point in time. And then, I suppose that a couple of years ago, going on 2 years ago, a real close friend of ours used hospice, and I can see now that back then, I think, in 1980 when it happened to my mom, I think I tried putting those things in practice, where I think I saw it 2 years ago. I actually had the opportunity to firsthand see someone help you put those things into practice. And there's such a great staff, and it's a great program, and like I say, they have it down to a science. They know what to say, when to say it, how to say it. They have some fantastic volunteers. Their timing is unbelievable. They can sense things when they need to be done. And another thing is not only necessarily the person that's passing, but the close family members as well. But I think they do a fantastic job of identifying the close people that are kind of in the environment as well. And because they kind of need maybe not the same thing that a spouse needs, or the same thing that a child needs with an adult child, maybe if their parents passing, but some close friends. Sometimes you need something differently as a close friend, and they do a fantastic job of providing that comfort and support, which is going to be different than what family members need.
Well, 17, that's tough to lose your mom at that age. That ain't any good. I think my own son was like 14. And I know it changed him, of course. It has to.
Absolutely.
Had to change. But anyway, the good news is that we have a hospice here in town, and we're so fortunate to have it. And we are coming up on the 28th annual Trinity Hospice Ball. And I'm going to ask you about this. People are going to be dressed in black, and what are they doing?
So we utilize mobile bidding. This will be, I believe, our 4th or 5th year to utilize mobile bidding, and it's really a fantastic service that we use. So all of our auction items are loaded onto our website about the week before the ball. Our site goes live, and you can log on to Unity Point Health Fort Dodge and to Trinity Foundation's website and get onto the actual auction site.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to set up an account, but it's easy to do. And then you can start bidding. So it's very simple. Whether or not you attend the ball, you can still participate in the auction and bid. And it's so simple and easy to do. You can see the product, you can read the description, and so it allows people who can't attend the ball to actually still participate in the auction and see the items and bid. And then at the end of the night, if you're at the ball and you want to pay with cash or a check, you can. But at 10:30, anyone who hasn't paid for their items, we just push it to their credit card, and all the items are paid for. At the end of the night, any items that aren't picked up, we take to the Paula J. Baber Hospice Home, and people can swing by the next week and pick them up. And they're all paid for. All they have to do is pick them up.
What an amazing world we live in.
We live in an amazing world. It is so much easier than the manual bidding that we have to do. You can sit at your table and bid all night long. You don't have to keep perusing the items and walking back. If you get outbid, you get a text telling you that you've been outbid, so you can up your bid. If it's an item that you really want, one of the items that we have on the auction this year is a new furnace donated by Bianchi Heating and Cooling.
Okay.
And so if you really want that energy efficient furnace, you can put an auto bid on and put your max bid, and every time someone bids against you, you automatically will up your bid. And hopefully at the end of the night, you'll get that furnace. It's always a highly sought-after item on the auction.
That's 3,000-4,000, I suppose, or more, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good item.
Last time I put one in, it was 1,000, but that was in the 70s, I think.
Yeah, well, if your last furnace was in the 70s, you need a new furnace. You better.
Well, I moved out of the house.
Yeah, okay.
I made it somebody else's problem. I'm out of here.
All right. We also have a week stay at a condo in Colorado, so that's a good auction item somebody might want to bet on. There's a lot of fun items, and so even if you can't attend the ball, log on and do some bidding. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, that's really something.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind that how we can do things now.
Yes,
how we can do things.
Technology is beautiful, isn't it?
All right, yes, it is. So let me say for emphasis, this is a community effort as far as I'm concerned. We need this in our town. And so please support the 28th Annual Trinity Hospice Ball. I hope we have a lot of corporate sponsors. This is definitely for the good of all of us here in the community. And it's Saturday, February the 1st, and it's at Starlight Village, junction of Highway 7 and 169. I guess we got to say that. Schedule of events, as Carol described a little earlier, it's 6 o'clock social hour. That's always a good time. The dinner will be at 7. What are we having for dinner?
The menu has not been determined yet.
All right.
We're just, keeping you
in
suspense.
Suspense, huh?
But it's always good.
So
it's always good.
It's always good?
It's always good.
Well, it is.
Last year we had smoked pork loin and brisket.
It's usually some kind of pork.
It's
where we live here.
Yeah, pork and beef. Pork and beef.
That's
we all
right.
like pork and beef and some potatoes and good vegetable and salad.
I think we had chicken one year.
One year we did have chicken, yes. And then we have a group of local bakers who provide a beautiful dessert bar at the end of the evening.
Well, that's heartening to hear.
Yeah, so great food.
Yeah.
No one goes away hungry.
No, absolutely not. But anyway, the social hour at 6. And I got to do something about this cell phone, for God's sake. All right. The social hour's at 6. The dinner's at 7. The dance starts at 8:30 and a silent auction throughout the evening.
Yep.
So we're not going to get Dinklaw out there again, huh?
No, Keith will not be out there auctioning anything off. It's all silent. And we do.
He's retired too now, you know.
Oh, he'd probably still do that.
He
though.
probably still would.
We do also have raffle tickets. We're raffling off a $500 Hy-Vee gift card, a $250 Target gift card, and 5 $50 Casey gift cards.
Thank you both. Ed Birnbaum
You're welcome.
and Carol Grannon. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
If you're a gearhead or not, you'll enjoy the Under the Hood Car Show every Saturday afternoon from 2 till 4 on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400, KVFD.
This is a Fox News alert, setting the wheels in motion. I'm Lisa Lacera. The articles of impeachment against President Trump ready to be sent to the Senate. Fox's Jared Halpern live on Capitol Hill.
Speaker Pelosi has signed a resolution officially notifying the Senate of 2 articles of impeachment against President Trump and naming 7 impeachment managers.
Make it be very clear that this president will be held accountable, that no one is above the law.
The message to the Senate was delivered by the House clerk and those impeachment managers, the first of a 2-step process to trigger a Senate impeachment trial. Tomorrow, the impeachment managers will read the articles of impeachment charging the president with abuse of power and obstruction of Congress on the Senate floor. Senators will then be sworn in tomorrow afternoon by the Chief Justice. Trial arguments will begin Tuesday. Lisa.
Jared, this morning at the White House, President Trump and the Vice Premier of China signing phase 1 of the trade deal.
China is going to agree to buy $200 billion more in U.S. goods over the next 2 years, including an additional $32 billion in U.S. agricultural goods. China also agrees to implement some protections for U.S. intellectual property, though there would be more to do, as well address forced technology transfer. That's just the beginning of that, though, and also end currency manipulation.
Fox's John Roberts at the White House. In exchange, the U.S. has agreed to reduce some tariffs on Chinese imports and eliminate tariffs on others. The signing of the deal sending stocks higher.
It only took 40 days for the Dow to get from 28,000 to 29,000, and this is now the 3rd record close for the index this year. The S&P and NASDAQ higher as well, getting a slight boost from the historic signing of the Phase 1 trade deal, but investors now looking ahead to the rest of earnings season.
Jerry Willis with the Fox News Business Network on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. America is listening to Fox News.
New year, new budgets. Every small business has unique needs. When you partner with a Dell Small Business Technology Advisor, you get real-time, tailored advice. They'll even give you a free audit on your servers and storage devices to develop a custom solution to help improve your company's productivity. Plus, right now, upgrade to Windows 10 and get up to 45% off select business computers with Intel Core processors. To speak with a Dell advisor, call 877-BUY-DELL. That's 877-BUY-DELL.
This is a last chance alert. It's happening in just days. Publishers Clearinghouse will award $5,000 a week forever. Enter now at PCH.com and you could win $5,000 a week for your life. Plus, after that, $5,000 a week for life for someone you choose. The $5,000 a week forever prize is guaranteed to be awarded on February 28th. So don't miss your last chance to win. Enter at PCH.com before it's too late. That's PCH.com. Hurry, award day is almost here. Go to PCH.com now. Entries due 2/25. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited.
With your KVFD news update, I'm Rob Jones. The Fort Dodge Police Department is reporting traffic collisions and slick intersections due to hazardous roadway conditions from the winter weather today. Please exercise caution when driving in the area this afternoon and evening. A Webster City man who illegally possessed over 60 firearms has been sentenced to over 2 years in federal prison. 53-year-old Greg Claude received the prison term on Monday after pleading guilty in August to possession of firearms by a controlled substance abuser. At the plea hearing, Claude admitted that he was a daily user of methamphetamine and that in May 2018 he was in possession of multiple firearms. Evidence at the hearing also showed that after a burglary arson investigation, which involved the theft of over 150 firearms in Calhoun County, law enforcement was made aware of Claude's possession of several stolen firearms in May of 2018. A search of Claude's residence in May 2018 turned up drug paraphernalia and methamphetamine. Officers later seized almost 70 guns. High school basketball from last night. The South Central Calhoun Titans would have split against Humboldt. In the girls' game, the Titans would fall for the first time in the calendar year of 2020. by a count of 38-30. Humboldt would outscore South Central Calhoun 17-5 in the fourth quarter to take the win. Emma McKinney would lead the Titans with 10. In the boys' game, the Titans would come back after trailing 35-32 at the half to get the win 85-73. Zane Newbaum was the story for the Titans offensively and had this play to get momentum back for the Titans.
Ball stolen away. Here comes the Newbaum. Zane, up and slammer home.
Brian Peters on the call of the Zane Newbaum dunk. Newbaum would have a season-high 40. 3 other Titans would score in double figures. The South Central Calhoun boys now have won 5 games in a row. The Fort Dodge Dodgers were swept in games you heard on 92 Rock at home. In the girls' game, Waukee would get off to a hot start and build a 10-point lead after the first quarter, but end up winning 70-26. 3 Waukee players in double figures. Torrey Bennett led the Dodgers with 8. The Dodger boys would fall to number 1 ranked Waukee by a score of 76-40. For Waukee, 2 Division I prospects led the way. Tucker DeVries had 16. Peyton Sanford had a game-high 19. For the Dodgers, Ty Kershaw had 12. The Dodgers got off to a slow start, found themselves trailing 24-7 after the first. Waukee would cruise from there. For KVFD from the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom, I'm Rob Jones.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios. It's the Dave Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. This is your show, America, because it's all about you. The phone number here is free at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. 5225. Kurt is with us in Boulder, Colorado. Hi, Kurt. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hi, Mr. Ramsey. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
So I am a junior in college, 20 years old, and I have a full-ride scholarship. 2 years ago, right before my freshman year, my father suddenly passed away of a heart attack and left me $50,000 in his will.
Oh, my
now,
goodness.
that money has been put in a bank account, and I've left that untouched for 2 years. And I've been a long-time follower and listener of yours, Mr. Ramsey. I read Total Money Makeover when I was in high school, and so I felt like the best plan of action would be to call you and ask for your advice on the steps going forward with this money. Because, as you say, you know, nothing's going to happen unless I do something with it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. That's a tough thing to go through at your age. How's your mom doing?
Oh, she's doing well. You know, it is a tough thing to go through. But then financially, she's on. She follows your baby step program. She's on step number 6.
Okay. Well, it sounds like he left everybody taken well care of. Good, a good man. Okay. Well, the good news is, it sounds like unless something fouls up, you don't need the money to get through school. Am I right?
Yes, sir. And I have no debt whatsoever.
Okay. The way I would look at this is I would look at it as an insurance policy that it ensures that Kurt is going to graduate debt-free regardless of what happens.
Okay.
So if the scholarship blew up or something weird got sideways or something like that, then we know you've got the money to finish and not have to borrow money. That's its primary use. Is to make sure you graduate 100% debt-free. Its secondary use would be after you graduate, you would do something with it. You might buy a car, you might move up in car or something, you might start some investing at that time. More serious investing, you might think about buying a home at that time. So you'll have some use for it after college if you don't use it up, and I'm thinking you're not going to use it up. I'm not expecting anything bad to happen, but we'll use it for now. Primary use is the insurance policy. Then 2, after college, we would use it for wherever you are in the baby steps and whatever purchases you need to make and investments you need to make at that point. So all of that said, I'd probably sit down with a SmartVestor Pro, and I'd probably put 30 of it maybe in a very conservative type growth stock mutual fund, maybe like a growth and income fund, and I might put the other 20 of it in just a money market. That way it's not going to earn much, but that's kind of your safety net. The other money's invested a little bit better, and it might go up. You might make $3,000 or $4,000 a year on it for the next couple of years. That'd be kind of nice, and add some money to it. So when you graduate, it's more than 50. It ends up being 55 or 60 or something, something like that. And it's not going to do that if you leave it just in a simple savings account. But so sit down with one of the SmartVestor pros in your area, the people we recommend that don't work for us in the investment business, and you know where they are. You just click SmartVestor at DaveRamsey.com. They can help you do some of each, some in a money market, some in an investment. Because you're in a pretty safe place, but I really want to make sure that, no matter what the storyline is of the next 2 years of your life, that you graduate completely debt-free, because I think that's honoring not only to good financial planning, but it's certainly honoring to your dad's memory. And he obviously did a great job taking care of his family in life and in death. So, wow, pretty incredible. Open phones at 888-825-5225. We don't ever like to talk about losing somebody like that. And I have, over the years, had friends that passed away, and then their kids are my kids' age, and, they become secondary kids to us since we're in their lives. And, sometimes they pass away, and, they're spouses in our life, and we watch them go through the struggle or not. And don't you just see, you guys see this too. It's not just me. It's not just because I'm, this money character, but isn't it in one sense maddening and saddening, and on the other side of the coin, I guess, really just honoring that when someone actually has a will, actually has life insurance, and has actually taken care of their family in the event that they die before they think they're going to, right? Because we all think we're going to live to be 100 and be in good mind and still be, skiing black diamond down the mountain, right? I mean, we're still going to be doing everything at 100, right? But we're not. And we're not all going to make it. Matter of fact, none of us are going to make it. We're going to make it we might make it to 100, but you ain't going to make it much past that. You ain't going to make it. Do you know that? So, what an honoring thing. Wouldn't it be cool if your son, your daughter, was that young man? He calls up and said, my dad took care of my mom. She's in baby step 6. My dad took care of me. And by the way he handled his money, by the way he handled his life insurance, by the way he handled his will. See, you can do all that. You can go get your will today, and you might be 32. You might be 26. I got bad news for you. 26-year-olds die every day, too. So you need to get your will done. You need to get your life insurance in place. You need to have a plan for your life, and a plan. Part of having a plan for your life is having a plan for your death. I don't want to do a will. I might die. You're going to die. And doing a will does not increase the probability of your death, nor does it decrease it, by the way. So you better get ready. You better get ready. And it's the way you say I love you to your family. It's the way you look in the mirror at yourself and you say, I'm looking at an adult. I'm looking at a grown-up who took their responsibilities to their family seriously. That's a big deal, you guys. That's a big deal. It's when you quit living for Friday night. Thank God it's Friday. Oh, God, it's Monday. You start actually having some vision for your life. It changes everything. And then maybe, hopefully not, but maybe your son or daughter is Kurt calling me someday. And my dad took good care of us. That's a pretty cool statement, That's a pretty cool statement. A lot of worse things could be said about you, and a whole lot of worse things could be said about me. But that one, I got taken care of. I may not make it through this hour, but that one is taken care of. I can promise you that Sharon, the grandkids, even those kids, they're all going to be okay. Financially, they're going to be just fine. Spiritually, they're going to be just fine. And because the part that I had to play in that, and I don't get to make all the decisions, but the part that I had to play in that, those decisions were made. Because I decided a long time ago I'm going to be a grown-up. Adults devise a plan and follow it. Children do what feels good. This is the Dave Ramsey Show. I heard a statistic recently that absolutely blew my mind. In the U.S. alone, over 3,000 people die every day without life insurance. Now, I don't want to sound unsympathetic, but this drives me crazy. What are people thinking? I don't understand how taking care of your family is not a top priority. Most of you probably just spent a bundle on Christmas on things you really didn't even need, and now you're making New Year's resolutions that are focused on yourself. But if you want to use the new year as a reason to do something right, like protecting your family, then take care of it right now before it's too late. Term life insurance is something every family needs, and that's why I talk about it every day. It's not complicated, it's not expensive, and Xander Insurance is the only place I recommend. Go to Xander.com or call them at 800-356-4282. Please learn from other people's mistakes and get this taken care of. That's Xander.com or 800-356-4282.
Hey guys, it's Rachel Cruz, and I love to travel. I'm also a huge fan of our amazing listeners who are killing it with their money. If you're in baby steps 4 through 7, you have sacrificed so much to become debt-free, and now you can enjoy your life and money without the burden of debt. So I'm so excited to announce our first ever Live Like No One Else cruise in March of 2020. Join me, Dave, and the other Ramsey personalities for 7 luxurious days at sea. Learn more and register today at RamseyCruise.com.
I love this time of year. Everyone gets to start over. Whether you're trying to lose weight, get healthy, stick to a budget, or just spend more time with family, my friends at eMeals make it incredibly easy to accomplish your goals. With 15 different food styles, including keto, low-carb, quick and healthy, budget-friendly, and 30-minute meals, eMeals has the perfect plan for your family this year. So start your year off right. Get your 2-week free trial at eMeals.com. That's eMeals.com. Are you
Radio Iowa News is presented by the Iowa Department of Public Safety Governor's Traffic Safety Bureau. Wearing a seatbelt increases your chances of surviving a crash by 45%. It only takes 2 seconds to buckle up.
Good evening. I'm Dar Danielson. Iowa Supreme Court Acting Chief Justice David Wiggins today downplayed the idea there's any kind of conflict between the governor and the judicial branch of state government. Wiggins was appointed to the Supreme Court by Democratic Governor Tom Vilsack 16 years ago and rejects Republicans' charges that he's been part of an activist court.
I think we have to do what we need to do, and the legislature and the governor needs to do what they think are right, and the government will endure.
Wiggins gave the State of the Judiciary message today and said it was like shockwaves when he learned of the sudden death of Chief Justice Mark Cady in November. The message that Wiggins delivered was much of what Cady had in his first draft of the speech. Food Bank of Iowa reports it increased the amount of food it acquired and delivered by 30% in 2019, more than 17 million pounds. Radio Iowa, I'm Dar Danielson.
What's the power of farming? It's more than early mornings feeding livestock and late nights in the field. Shaped by innovation, technology, and old-fashioned hard work, farming is the backbone of our nation. Join us at this year's Iowa Power Farming Show, January 28th through the 30th at the Iowa Events Center in Des Moines, Iowa, the third largest indoor ag show in the U.S. Doors open at 9 each day with free parking and shuttle at Principal Park. Sponsored in part by Farm Credit Services of America and Ag Direct. Find the power of farming at iowapowershow.com.
Let's see. Age, sex, male. Diseases you're at risk for. Flu, whooping cough, pneumococcal disease.
Vaccines can protect you from serious diseases adults can be at risk for. And the older you get, the more serious they could be.
Shingles.
Take the quiz at cdc.gov/vaccines to learn more. Or call 1-800-CDC-INFO. Then talk with your healthcare professional. Don't wait. Vaccinate.
Thank you for joining us, America. We're glad you're here. Open phones at 888-825-5225. You jump in. We'll talk about your life and your money. It's a free call. Kyle is with us in Tulsa. Hi, Kyle. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hi, David. Great to be talking with you.
Sure. What's up?
Me and my girlfriend have been going out for a little over a year now, and she has 2 kids, and we've talked about marriage a little bit, and I'm trying to figure out, I have debt of my own, so I'm trying to figure out how to, prepare my life, my future, that way they can have a good future too, and, make sure everything works out.
Okay. You said you have debt. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I do.
Okay. How much debt do you have?
It's about $17,000.
Okay. And how much debt does she have?
She has roughly about the same. She
Okay.
She has a car.
And what does she make?
She makes $25 a year.
What do you?
So do me.
What do you make?
The same. Yeah, we both work at the same place.
You both make 25.
Yeah.
So you'd have if you were married, you'd have a $50,000 income with $34,000 worth of debt. Did I understand that right?
Yes.
Okay. And when would you be talking about getting married?
I'm not sure. I mean, that's kind of what's up in the air right now. I'm
just trying to think through it. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the main thing is not whether or not you have debt. It's whether or not you are in agreement on how you're going to handle money, meaning
Right.
that we're going to be in agreement that we're both going to attack this debt with a vengeance, and
Right.
we're going to get rid of it so that we can build wealth, so that we can have a great retirement, and these kids can go to college and so on. How old are you?
I'm 25.
How old is she?
22.
And she has 2 kids. What ages?
Yeah. 4-year-old and a 6-month-old.
And a 6-month-old. Okay.
Yes.
So she's recently gone through a divorce.
Yeah. Well, a breakup. Yeah. It's kind of messy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, what I would tell you is this. You want to make sure that the 2 of you sit down with a pastor and a marriage counselor and get some detailed, in-depth family counseling, because you're going to be an instant dad. And these little kids don't come with a training manual.
Yeah.
And so, you want to make sure that you're going to be able to speak into the raising of these kids. And if Mama Bear rises up and says you're not able to speak to that, and yet you're paying the bills and living and married and so forth, that's going to cause problems in your marriage. So, the management and the encouragement and the discipline and the nurturing of the kids can become a real sticking point when they in a blended family. And so you want to make sure that you guys have worked all of that through, and that you've worked through the money decisions. We're going to stay out of debt. We're going to save and invest. We're going to get rid of this debt. We're going to be on a budget together. We're going to have a plan. Here's the reason I'm bringing that up. The data that we have from doing this for 30 years is the number 1 cause of divorce in North America today is money fights and money problems. There are 4 things a young couple need to be in agreement on, and if they're in agreement on these 4 things, the data points tell us they have a high success rate in their marriage, a very high success rate. Number 1 is money. Number 2 is kids. Number 3 is religion. And number 4 is dealing with the in-laws, the extended family, because there's crazy in every family, and you got to know how to deal with it. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And so if you guys can, the 2 of you can, in your pre-marriage counseling, get a real flow chart, a real template on how to deal with the kids, that you're both going to be in agreement. You're going to love those kids like they're your own, and you're going to be consequently speaking into their nurture, and their discipline as if you were their biological dad. Okay?
Right.
And you're going to set that plate up. You're going to put that on the plate ahead of time. The same thing with the money. We're going to combine our money. We're going to be in agreement on where we're going with the money. We're going to be in agreement on our religious affiliations. We're going to be in agreement on dealing with in-laws. Because, in other words, you can't let mother-in-law get between you, as an example. That kind of thing happens all the time. If you can get those 4 areas covered, all the data tells us you have about a 90% success ratio with your marriage. One of those 4 things is where almost everyone trips up. And you got 2 of them right now that are bothersome. So you really need to address them. You have a very young fiance with very young children recently coming out of a toxic situation.
Mm-hmm.
Danger.
Yeah.
Okay? And so take your time, and I'm not saying you're not to love the woman. I'm not saying she's not a great woman. She probably is. All that's fine. But just take your time and get detailed, in-depth pre-marriage coaching and counseling.
Okay.
And by the way, people that do in-depth pre-marriage counseling have a very high success rate of marriage.
Alrighty.
Because good marriage counseling done ahead of time, good pre-marriage counseling, will keep a bad marriage from happening.
Right.
It'll ruin it. It'll ruin the engagement if it's good stuff, if the engagement needs to be ruined. And if there's too much toxicity and you're not going to survive anyway, it'll blow it up. And that's what you want to do. I mean, tough discussions. You want to have those before you get married, not after. I mean, marriage is tough enough when you got everything lined up. But when it's not lined up, oh, my goodness, can you have a mess. So, hey, there you go. Thanks for joining us. Taylor is with us in Seattle. Hi, Taylor. How are you?
Hi, Dave. I'm great. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So I just wanted to get some advice. So I am a nurse. I've tried different sectors of nursing and have finally, found what I'm passionate about, and I love it. The only problem with it is that now I want to become a doctor in that field because I am loving it so much. The deterrent being I don't want to be $200,000 in debt for medical school.
Well, that would be a good idea.
Well, yeah, and the only advice I'm getting from people is you either go $250,000 in debt or you join the military. So my question for you is, do you know of a better way to do it, and do you think it's worth it to go that much in debt for a career, where I will make $250,000 to $300,000 a year? So I can't quite get my head around what the right
Well, you may not, too. We don't have control over that. The only way that works is if it works, and sometimes it doesn't work. So, no, I don't ever tell people to go into debt, ever. Not even for that. So what would I do if I were in your shoes? Military is an option. The second thing I would look at is the MD, PhD programs where you get a fellowship and you go to work for a university, basically. For instance, Duke has one of those. They're hard to get into, but if you can find one of them and get in, if you're basically the premise is that you become an employee of the university working there, and then the school is free. And but your income drops to near nothing. In your case, probably the last one is the best one. Is I would look for one of the big hospital companies to fund it, and in return you would have to agree to work for them for a certain number of years. They're recruiting heavily docs, especially going into some of the underserved areas, and so you might end up working a rural hospital or something that wouldn't be your first choice for 3 years after school, but then they would give it to you free. There's a payback. It's kind of an indentured servant plan, if you will, but check out that. That's what I would look into. Business leaders, right now, you have the opportunity to take your business to the next level this new year. You can start by hiring the right people to help your business grow. At Ramsey Solutions, we post on LinkedIn Jobs because they are the best at matching the right person with the right job. LinkedIn Jobs screens candidates with the skills you're looking for so you can hire smart and fast. The thing I love about LinkedIn is they look beyond just the work skills and put your job post in front of qualified candidates who match your business requirements perfectly. That's how LinkedIn makes sure your job post is seen by the people you want to hire. People with the skills, qualifications, and other interests that will help your business grow. It's no wonder a hire is made every 8 seconds on LinkedIn. So this year, set your business up to succeed. Get started today and get $50 off your first job post. Visit linkedin.com/Ramsey. That's linkedin.com/Ramsey. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm Connell McShane. This is the Fox Business Report.
The major averages closing in the green with record closes for the Dow and S&P 500, and the Dow marking a milestone today and closing above the 29,000 mark for the first time ever following the signing of a Phase 1 trade deal. The Dow rising 91 points, NASDAQ up 7, S&P 500 up 6. And shares of Target tumbling today 7% after reporting a rare holiday sales miss dragged down by weakness in toys and electronics. However, Shah Gilani, strategist at Capital Wave, still likes the company and would buy the stock if it moves lower.
Frankly, I hate to bet against the stock in terms of one that I like to buy, but I love to see it go down to 110 where I'd load up on it.
And United Health Group, one of the Dow winners today, its shares spiking 3% after reporting that its revenue rose over 4% in the latest quarter. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Enter the Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl Square Sweepstakes. We're giving away $50,000 every score change, touchdowns, field goals, even extra points. 50 G's. Plus, 2 grand prize winners will win $500,000 that could be used toward their dream home. Enter for free at RocketMortgageSquares.com. Rocket Mortgage, official mortgage sponsor of Super Bowl 54.
No purchase necessary. 18 years or older except Alabama, Nebraska, and Mississippi. Ends January 30th. Licensed all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. The NFL is not sponsored promotion in any way.
Blue Ribbon, Pelham Waters, your water pro since 1949.
Do you have questions about your water? What is a whole home filter? Is my softener working or not? Can I get rid of that red stain around the sink? I'm Brian with Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters. We're here to fix problem water. We'll work with you to find the right solution for you. We've been serving the Fort Dodge area since 1949. Let us serve your water treatment needs. Sales, service, rentals. Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters, your complete water store.
Mom, Dad, I'm getting married.
That's wonderful, dear.
Congratulations. So have you decided on a date?
Yes, this Saturday.
What? Are you serious? We need to plan. There's so much to do.
What about the church? The flowers, music, food, inviting everyone?
You would not want to be faced with those hurried decisions then. Why do that to your family with your own final arrangements? I invite you to sit down with us at Gunderson's to pre-plan your funeral. Pre-planning allows you to make thoughtful decisions with a clear mind. Give us a call at Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services, Fort Dodge.
Did you know that the IRS is getting more aggressive these days and they're using private collection agencies to track you down? Don't wait. If you owe more than $10,000, then you need to take action. Take advantage of the Fresh Start Initiative, a program in place that can help you now. If you qualify, you can save thousands. Call about the government program designed to help you and call Oxford Tax, the Fresh Start experts. It's important that you take action before programs change. Call Oxford Tax at 800-549-8040. 800-549-8040.
Equal opportunity is the cornerstone of the American dream. Being employed gives us the confidence to be financially independent. We feel useful and respected. But what if you were one of the 81% of adults with developmental differences who do not have a paid job?